All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Misccast. The last one we did, which I think was like 3 weeks ago now, that was kind of a test run. We had Koji and Griever on here to talk about Attack on Titan. But now we're here to talk about like some real stuff, some channel mainstay stuff. Since the Shibuya incident arc in Jujutsu Kaisen just ended last week technically, and I there's not a chapter this week. I decided, hey, why don't I just force a bunch of people from my Discord server to come on here and talk about it for like 2 hours? So here we are now. So let's get the introductions underway. I hope my audio isn't too loud, though I'd prefer it be too loud than too quiet. So you can just turn it down if it's too loud. So now that that's done, you guys can all unmute yourselves, and I guess we'll start. Well, Teo, you're the other Jujutsu Kaisen YouTuber on here, so I guess you should introduce yourself first.
How's everybody doing, man? Just here for, some Jujutsu Kaisen talk. Yeah, pretty much it.
Fantastic. And of course, I'll
Yeah.
be linking Teo's channel in the description. Um, so now that you've introduced yourself, we can actually go through the normal order. Let's start off with Fine. Fine, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm fine. Yeah, Misk told us if anyone wants to go to this podcast. So yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went. Koji. Well, you guys know Koji from last time. Koji, if you'd like to introduce yourself again for any people who didn't watch the last one.
Hello, I'm Koji, Aaron Game and Watch, and I basically do shit posts on my YouTube channel, and that's nothing more.
Fantastic. And now our other new guest, Neo Rose, who I'm just going to call Neo because it's shorter.
Indeed. I don't have a channel or anything, but I'm Neo, One Piece and Bleach fanatic, and recently read Jujutsu Kaisen, so that's why I'm here. And that's about it.
All right, fantastic. I feel like this went. I haven't watched the last podcast recently, but I feel like this went much smoother than the last introduction. So we may already be off to a better start this time. So of course we are here to talk about the Shibuya incident. So I feel like, well, you all probably know my thoughts on the Shibuya incident, so I'll go over them first very quickly. And then I guess we can go through everyone else's in the order that they're in the voice chat. So if you've been watching my channel since like June when I started doing Jujutsu Kaisen reviews, you know I'm quite the big fan of this arc. I think it's the best arc in the series. It's effectively the culmination of everything that's happened in the story so far. It's the climax of the third act. It does a really good job, uh, sort of finishing where the character arcs have been going so far, setting up new character arcs, basically changing the way the entire world of Jujutsu Kaisen works for the story going forward. And needless to say, it has made me very, very excited to see where the story goes from here. So now that I've given my piece, fine, you have the floor.
Yeah. I very much do enjoyed the Shibuya incident. Um, it's pretty much doesn't have any flaws for me except one thing, the whole Toji resurrection thing. But you know, yeah, that's pretty much it. I liked it. It's good.
All right,
Yeah.
fantastic. Koji, tell us what you thought about the Shibuya incident.
Well, what I first thought about it was fantastic, but very scary at the same time because it was. I'll say it in a nutshell. It's basically the 9/11 of anime itself, and you'll get it later when we progress in the podcast on why.
Well, I can understand why. I don't know if I'd use that analogy. I get what you're saying, but I don't know if I'd use a 9/11 analogy. Um, great. Neros, what did you think of the Shibuya incident?
Oh boy, that's hard to put into words, but the Shibuya incident is definitely I do agree that it is the culmination of basically everything up to this point, and being the longest arc of the story with some of the biggest revelations in the series. It's definitely an arc that will go down in history as one of the best arcs of Jujutsu Kaisen. And yeah, I wouldn't say it has really any flaws, and I thought it ended pretty perfectly.
Great. And now, Teo, I think you started your channel, where were we in the arc? I know when I started, it was towards the end of the fight
I
against Dagon,
think it
but
was like
where did you
chapter
start it?
106, like right after the Yuji and Chozo fight.
Oh, so you actually started
Mm-hmm.
reviewing it earlier than I did.
All right. Yeah. And like Kaizen, like just the Shibuya incident too, you know what I'm saying? Like I knew that I was going to be reviewing Jujutsu Kaisen, but once I seen the like how Shibuya was shaping up to be, I'm like, yo, I have to review this and keep on going with it. And like the Shibuya incident in all, I think is, one of the best arcs in Shonen currently, although it has ended, but even when I just reread it yesterday, it's still like pretty surprising to see some of the things that happen, like new characters coming and like what are their powers, and Gigi doesn't really leave you like, it's a mystery of what he can do, he likes to show you that stuff, and still leave room to see more, So yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep.
All right. So now that we've given our overall thoughts, I feel like this is probably going to be. No, actually, I think the topic after this will probably be the hardest question. But what is the best moment in the Shibuya incident? Well, of course, we're going to start off with me. Um, I think if you've been watching my videos lately, you should have a very good idea of what I think the best moment in the arc is. And that is basically the entirety of chapter 132, the defeat of Mahito. Basically, what we've all been waiting for since the end of the Junpei arc, Mahito finally getting what he fucking deserves. And also, I mean, you got like a Toto moment out of it, uh, and you got what I think is kind of like the culmination of all of Yuji's character development so far, with him becoming less naive, but also kind of more cynical, I guess. It was all very interesting. Seeing Mahito scared shitless was an indescribable feeling for me, of course, because I hate that little prick so much. So yeah, that was definitely, in my opinion, the best moment in the Shibuya incident. Fine. What did you think was the best moment?
Well, I'd say that's chapter 120, Nanami's death and Yuji's breakdown after seeing what Sukuna has done. It's when I read it, the chapter in that week, that I really just reread it like 3 times after that, and was just to take a break because I read all of the manga and Shonen Jump and just had to take a break for like 20 minutes at least.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. As some of you probably know, Nanami was my favorite character, so that was pretty rough. Now, that chapter did come out back when I still read spoilers, so I imagine if I read that chapter blind, it would have been much more impactful for me, which almost kind of makes me wish I had not done that. But Koji,
Uh, best part, right? To start off,
best
right?
part.
Best
Yeah,
part.
what did you think was the best moment, part, chapter in the Shibuya incident? Your favorite thing
Uh,
that happened in the Shibuya incident?
Mahito getting what he deserved. That little
Okay.
fucker deserved that.
Okay.
He deserved everything.
It's so good. I mean, I can't disagree. Well, obviously, I don't disagree. We just had the same answer. So Neros.
There's definitely a lot of moments I could pick from, but one of them would the first one I'm gonna say is probably like the revelation, or like the reveal of Maharaga, right? But finally seeing what was like hinted at as far back as like one of the first starts of the series with Megami
I think it was the
versus
first chapter that he
Yeah,
considered
first
using it.
chapter.
think it was right after Sukuna ripped out Yuji's heart, and like that was almost about to go into when he was gonna use Maharaga. So it's basically been foreshadowed since like chapter 6 or something.
Yeah, I think it was like he started chanting it in chapter. I think it was
We got
chapter
part of
9. Though he did get into. I think he got into the pose in chapter 1, didn't he? Or was that chapter 2?
Yes,
I
at
think
the
it
end.
was chapter 2. He definitely did get in the pose, but that is definitely one of the higher moments of the arc, just because of like how awesome that was,
It was
especially
pretty
because of
fucking insane.
fight
Yeah.
Sukuna. Another one, of course, is Sukuna just being Sukuna.
Yeah, that is always fun.
Just fight and like the weird like thing with his flame powers, which still isn't fully explained, so it'll be interesting to see what that is. But we all have to agree that Mahito getting the just desserts he deserved is the best part of this arc. Just seeing that piece of garbage finally get what was coming to him for so long.
And after the end of
Easily
like
the
a
best part.
14 chapter. No, it wasn't 14. Like a 12 chapter
Like
fight.
12
The
chapter
longest
fight.
fight.
Yeah, it's the longest fight in Jujutsu Kaisen, and just it felt worth it too, because it's like it wasn't an easy win. It was sacrifices had to be made.
Yeah, that was another thing in the fight. Is like you're already like Mahito is super dangerous. He keeps harming the characters that we care about, and then he just keeps doing it during the fight. He does it like multiple times during the fight.
He starts off by killing Nanami and then injuring Nobunaga.
Oh,
Anyway, Tono's it's like not an
yeah.
easy one, but easily the best part of that arc.
Yeah. I thought your Discord cut out for a second. But whatever. It seems like it's fine now. TEOO. By the way, guys, you don't have to keep yourselves muted unless you have like a dog barking in the background.
Oh.
Cool.
You know why Misccast had
I
it.
know why you're muted, Koji.
But that's a very hard question. I have to say that. Honestly, it would probably be like when Mahito did the domain expansion within like 0.2 seconds, because like within that little one moment, there was like narrations of like what Toto was doing, what Yuji was doing. And just the fact that Mahito said, you know what, I know Sukuna is in Yuji, and I know if I do this, something could go wrong, but oh well, I'm gonna do it anyway. But the fact that he actually like was able to like, I guess you can say understand how long he was caught up in the domain of GOJOs and then copy it is like, I feel like, this guy's name should have been brought up when GOJO was talking to the principal from the other school about like these curses and people like this are going to be more powerful, because right there, Mahito just showed is like, yeah, I can do this stuff, So yeah, that moment there, 0.2 seconds. Mahito's there, man.
All right. This one. I kind of want us to have like a it's sort of like a discussion. Right now, I just kind of have like a Q&A thing going on. So let's debate the worst moment in the Shibuya incident. That's gonna be a hard one for such a good arc. What is the worst moment?
Just the Toji resurrection.
Okay. First off, what do you mean by worst? Because that could mean a lot of things.
Yeah,
What
there's
do you
worse
mean?
and catastrophic. Like, what type of worse do you
Okay,
mean?
not bad is in like, oh no, a character died. I mean, oh, this is kind of dumb or bad writing.
Okay.
Just also not just the least best is in this mainly.
Is Toji getting resurrected? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's the least best thing out of the arc. It's not like bad or anything, bad writing, in my opinion. It's just the least best.
It is quite weird. Okay, so here's a fun fact. This is the most embarrassing thing I will ever say. But when I was doing my initial read of Jujutsu Kaisen, when I got into like the last 10 chapters that were out, I was kind of speed reading a little bit, and I don't know why. But when Granny Ogami said Toji Zenin, I literally didn't even process that it was Megumi's dad. I did not even fucking process who it was. Like, even when he came back, I was just like, whoa, I don't know what's going on. And then when he did the thing where he broke into Dagon's domain, which was actually the chapter I caught up on, which is a fucking crazy chapter to catch up on. I was like, whoa, how is he back? Because I didn't even fucking process that he just got resurrected. Like, he was literally there like 10 chapters ago.
Well, I caught up like a chapter before that, so
Yeah, so you caught up when Megumi broke into the domain
oh
and
no
gave
no no
Maki Playful Cloud. I think
no
that was
no
chapter
not that.
108, wasn't it?
When
Well,
Dagon uses domain expansion, that's when I caught up.
Okay, so that was 2 chapters before that, I think.
Yeah. Just remember it incorrectly, but that was also a chapter to get caught up on because it was just Naobido on a beach, and
Yeah,
before that was domain expansion. Just oh fuck.
yeah. Okay, so we have one down. We have Toji's resurrection. Does anyone else have a moment they would apply to be the worst?
like
Okay,
the
I
worst,
wouldn't
like
say it's
most
the
hated,
worst,
like
but I wouldn't
Hey,
say it's the worst moment,
I'm
but
using
the
I'm
moment that
using strong language to make you think very hard.
go.
the
okay,
worst.
this
Okay,
is a
I have
bad
one.
moment, but when I read this initially in the chapter, I was kind of like, who? And then I had to process it. I'm like, okay. Is the whole revelation that the brain inside of Geto was also Noritoshi Kama. Okay, I didn't even process who that was at first. I'm like, who? And then,
What?
all
Oh,
right, yeah,
you know what? If you weren't like constantly watching discussion
Yeah,
videos and stuff,
I
a lot
guess.
of people probably completely forgot about him because they mention him like once, one
yeah.
time. It's like a
When I went
reference to
back
him
and like
once,
looked at
like 60 chapters prior.
yeah, that's who that is. But that moment just fell flat. I'm like, okay, I don't know who that really is, but
It
okay,
wasn't that bad of a moment in when you know Jujutsu Kaisen
yeah,
like all. I
When
get
you're
that.
on the
Yeah.
ball,
just
when you keep up
yeah,
with the
just
discussion boards like I do, and you're like,
I.
oh yeah,
This was
baby.
like
When you get
this was like I
spoiled on
think
it
like
because you didn't realize spoilers would come out a week before the fucking chapter releases, um,
oh yeah, spoilers are bad at the beginning of January.
uh,
Can I say mine? Can I
yeah,
say
sure. What
mine
did you think
about
was the worst?
Definitely the Noritoshi Kama.
in terms of the worst? Like he said, Toko Shakikawa or whatever he is, that got mentioned once. I was like, why doesn't it sound familiar? Then when I went to reread after the Shibuya incident arc, that I reread it from chapter like from volume 0 to the Shibuya incident arc again, I saw that it was only mentioned one. Like, holy god, like it's just a brain, but I know you just mentioned once a brain. That's why I don't understand. Like the worst, like how can a brain make it? I
What?
know that.
What?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
what?
say it.
Koji, what the
Yeah,
fuck are you talking about?
Thanks about the technique
What are you
Geto.
talking about?
Well, he
yeah.
said it was a
Okay,
technique
Yeah,
that
he's
lets
talking
him
about the
skip
technique
bodies.
of
It lets
Geto.
him swap brains.
yeah. He's a swapping brain. But what I hated a lot because I thought that, oh, why does this guy sounds like familiar to me from the manga? And when I see, like, oh my fucking god, what's a brain all along the mastermind? Like, why didn't I thought about it? It's like you think about something big and giant like Sukuna, and instead it's just a simple brain.
Haha,
That's
the
what
brain
made
is
me
the mastermind.
Yes,
yeah.
of course. Of course, the mastermind is literally a brain. He's big brain shit. You gotta be all
That's
IQ to have that kind of shit going on.
Also, something I didn't really like when I in the arc was um, after the domain expansion, Todo claps Mahito's hand and only gets like a small burn of it, but he doesn't get transfigured, which I found kind of eh.
Hmm.
that is weird. That is a weird moment because that does break kind of how Mahito's idea.
Well,
Made
didn't Nanami get hurt
transfigure.
when Mahito touched him the first time? But he didn't transfigure him because he was protecting himself.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of what happened to Totoko.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That makes
See, it
yeah.
all makes sense
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah,
remember something that
yeah.
happened
There
prior.
we go.
What well-written
Uh,
series? I don't
Pretty
actually
sure-
know. You know what? That isn't even super deep writing. That's just consistency.
you know what? I'm gonna add something more. Nanami died.
That was a well-written moment though, Koji.
Koji, that was a good moment. Sad.
Koji, you're mixing things up here. We'll get to crazy shit after this. We're doing the
Okay.
three. We're doing the best, the worst, and the craziest. So right now we're on the worst.
Yeah, well, on the
Yeah,
worst. I would.
yeah.
Koji just has like a giant growl. in
I was
his
gonna say
back head.
like the worst moment for me personally would probably be like Shigamo. I mean, understand Gigi probably wanted to write him to show his technique and stuff. But I just felt like he was getting in the way of everything, like I don't know.
You
Who was that
are
again?
all-
Was that Miracle
Shigemo was
Face?
ponytail,
The,
high
the,
tail.
the guy
Oh
that got
yeah, I
sliced
just
up by
remembered his other name. What was it, like Haruta or
Haruta.
something?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I
Haruta.
literally forgot it as soon as they mentioned it because he
See,
immediately got
it's
cut in half.
like he was just there. It just feels like. So,
It's true.
I don't know.
You know what? He was just there.
He really
Yeah.
was.
He's
Same
dead,
with Yaga
I
and
guess.
Shoko. Like they were literally just there and they didn't do
Alright.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, Shoko did
To be
say,
fair, with
Shoko,
Yeah,
we
she
didn't
did.
see Shoko
But, like,
do something. We were told Shoko did something.
yeah, right.
Yaga
Yeah.
didn't do anything. Yaga didn't do fucking anything in
He
the whole
only
Shoko was
positioned
really hysterical.
dolls outside of
That's-
Shoko's clinic.
Yeah, but can I add something like one of the bad? Like I don't know if this should be bad or crazy, but Kasukabe, you know Kasukabe?
Kusakabe, yes.
Kusakabe. Sorry for mistaking the word. Kusakabe wasn't like a word, nothing. He was like, "When can I leave? When can I leave?" Instead of seeing everything as a danger, he was like, "Give me the freaking time to leave."
Well, I'm sure he wanted to
Yeah, I think
leave
he
because
was
he
like-
realized how dangerous everything is. Like, I think the first
Yeah.
thing Kusakabe does when we meet him is he's like, yeah, it's nice in there. I'm not going back, though, because I'm pretty sure there are a bunch of special grades in that basement.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
it's not the first thing, but it's the first thing we see of him afterwards. We see him at the beginning of the arc, but then we also see him afterward with Panda.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Kusakabe even doing anything within the arc. He, like, gets introduced.
Kusakabe stopped Miwa from getting killed.
Yeah, that's it pretty much. Also,
Dude, like I
he's-
said, I will
You
mess up details.
Okay, so what did we have? We had Toji coming back to life. We had... What else did we have?
Yeah,
Shikibakame or whatever the name it was, that it was just a brain after all.
Okay, I guess the brain just being a brain. Koji, I don't understand what the fuck you're saying. Please specify.
The brain just being a brain. Like
Well,
the
we don't know
mastermind
if he's just a
being simple
brain. He had a body before being just a brain.
probably.
Presumably.
Yeah,
information about him in a couple arcs down the line.
You know, the inevitable Sukuna flashback arc will tell us, you know. It's like how we never
You know.
got the Yamamoto flashback arc for Thousand Year Blood War, but we did get other flashback arcs.
Me,
Turn back the
don't
pendulum.
remind me. Yes, don't
Yeah,
remind me.
we got Turn Back the Pendulum. We got Everything But the Rain, but we never got the original Blood War. So we have the brain apparently just being a brain. What did you say it was, Nero?
I said about the Noritosho
Okay, the Kamo
Kaba.
reveal. And Teo,
It's like-
do you say what you thought the worst moment was?
I said Shigama Haruta, the guy with the things on his
Okay,
face,
him,
just
yeah.
being there.
I think the worst part is the rules with how Prison Realm works. Not like the you need to be standing within 4 meters of it for a minute, but it's a minute from your perspective. That is such a stupidly specific thing for how that works.
Yeah.
That's dumb. That's kind of stupid.
Yeah, I now remember that too. When I first read Jujutsu Kaisen, I had just like, yeah, that reveal. It's not even a reveal. It's just later on in the chapter. But I found it just to be, it's 1 minute. He needs to stand next to 1 minute in his mind. It's just like, meh.
How would a person even keep track of that? Like, I assume how would It doesn't make sense, okay?
It's
It doesn't make any
basically
fucking
a
sense.
minute in
Yeah.
memory, right? Like you remember something that triggers it, and then it's a memory.
Yes, I
That
think
later.
Griever mentioned how kind of weird that is.
Yeah.
So
Also, another one I've
Always like
actually
this weird thing. It's just
it's very bizarre.
also
It-
I have another thing because of that, and it's just like now Nobara just gets kind of beaten down by Haruta, and in the first time, it's
Oh yeah,
really
Nobara does kind of job a little. Yeah, she
yeah,
does. She
job.
is a bit of a jobber. However, I will allow it because we then got basically a top 2 Nanami moment out of it. So I'll take
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
I
It's
will.
Nobara,
I will accept
Nobara
the trade.
jobbing for Nanami fucking being a boss, you know?
Nanami being built like a brick shithouse and then just
you know,
beating the shit out of the twink.
Freak shit house.
because it's just like hard to punches him, and then he realizes he fucked up.
It's like,
And then-
oh,
Quit.
oh.
Just kicks him, and it apparently feels like a brick wall, which is
We need to get Griever drunk for when he reads that. We need to make sure he gets fucking
Oh.
shit-faced for when he reads that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can we
He
make
needs
it
to-
shove the beers?
Actually, no. If he's shit-faced for like everything that he's going to read next stream, that'll be fun. Because next stream he gets a lot of stuff. He gets the Nanami thing. He gets the Dagon fight.
Gojo
Oh wait,
too.
he gets the Chozo fight too. You get the Mei fight. There's gonna be a lot of stuff he goes over next stream. I'm very
Probably a
excited.
Nanami too. He'll get
Yeah.
probably the Nanami part.
He
right?
may get to the part. Actually, it depends. It depends on if I moderate his chat like a South American dictator and just get rid of literally everything that could hold up the stream. We'll see. We'll see how far he gets. That would be a lot of chapters for him to read in one stream. But we'll see what happens.
At 97 and to if he's getting drunk at Nanami, so it's like 3 chapters in, so you need to have a bit of time before the Nanami fight thing happens.
It's
to get
true.
drunk.
You're gonna have to trigger him again. You're gonna have to tell him, I don't know. Tell him that Escanor is a bad character, and he'll fucking flip his shit.
Watch that Super Eye Patch Wolf video.
God.
Wait, does Griever not? Do you assume Griever doesn't like the Super Eye Patch Wolf video about Bleach?
He doesn't like.
That-
He didn't like
that's
me
a horrible
saying.
video.
He didn't like me talking about Bleach badly, and Super Eye Patch Wolf has some criticisms about it, which I do agree with. So
I do as well. But
you know,
if someone fucking sparks another 30-minute tangent, I'm gonna lose my shit. It'll be the Jack's mom discussion all over again. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
discussion.
Oh, yeah, when he was doing a Shumatsu reaction, someone got into a debate about whether or not Jack's mom is evil, and it went on for like
Oh, God.
45 fucking minutes.
Okay, yeah.
It was ridiculous. I was like tearing my hair out. All right, that was a nice tangent. I was hoping we'd get one of those in. God.
Me and Koji
I'm
both
gonna
get
have
like
to-
3. Don't worry.
Listen, I do these long things so that I don't have to edit shit, but then I have to do time stamping later for everyone's convenience, and it's just like, ugh. I have to go in and I have to fucking type in a bunch of shit. I mean, the actual process is easy. I'm just really lazy. Other worst moment. I think I had another one that I didn't care for. Like I thought it was kind of no, yeah,
Craziest.
the Nobara thing. Yeah, that's also kind of bad. But I don't think it's worse than Prison Realm being stupid, because we got Nanami out of it. So that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. I'll take it. It's not a big deal. Any other thoughts from anyone?
Not bad.
I guess that'll be it.
Fantastic. All right. I feel like this probably would have been encapsulated in the best moment thing, but what is the craziest thing that happened in the Shibuya incident? Like something that left you absolutely in awe, falling out of your chair. Batshit insane. For me, it would either be the Maharaga reveal or Malevolent Shrine. Because when Malevolent Shrine came out, I was like, oh no. Oh, Yuji, they are gonna fucking kill you. that thing was nuts. That spread where Maharaga's getting cut up with Malevolent Shrine, and instead of them showing like lines where he's being cut, they just have the kanji for the sounds of it, and it takes up like the whole panel. That is some
Yeah,
great
is-
shit.
that is
That
some
was
really good.
really fucking good.
I
Oh,
wonder how they're gonna do that in the anime though.
I hope they do it well. I don't know. There are some things that don't translate well into animation. I'm wondering how they're going to do some of the stuff from Chainsaw Man, because Fujimoto did some interesting stuff with paneling, and you don't have panels in an anime, so it's like, how the hell are you going to do that?
Ambitious.
The other
We had
crazy
JoJo
thing.
for that.
No, I just remembered now. The reveal for Instant Spirit Body of Distorted Killing was nuts. I unfortunately, if Fine, you remember, and whoever else was there, if you recall, I was going to do my first reaction for that chapter, and then my fucking internet didn't work that day. So I couldn't. But I was typing in the chat as I was reading it, and boy, was that shit fucking crazy. I did not see that coming from like a mile away. That shit was fucking wild. That definitely probably surprised me almost more than anything else. So, what do you guys think? Well, so I've got that down. No, you know what? Fuck Malevolent Shrine. Mahito's true form. That's the craziest thing that happened.
Wait, you mean Mahito being like a berserk?
Him
Monster,
turning
that's-
into knockoff Hanami and Dagon. Fine.
Yeah.
What did you think was the craziest thing that happened? The craziest to me.
Honestly, if you go from chapter, I don't know, 110, where Jogo roasts the Zenin team, or just Toji going into Dagon, or Sukuna having his domain expansion, Maruaga coming out, Nanami dying, it's all just a wild ride. So I can't really decide between those. If it'd
You
be
know,
somewhere around.
in hindsight, yeah, like that 10 or 11 chapters is actually pretty nuts. Like, it's just shit that keeps happening. Shit starts happening, like, around chapter 110 and does not stop for, like, the rest of the arc.
Sound like there didn't much happen before that, but
Yeah, that
go
is
just.
true.
But yeah,
Yeah, I guess the Dagon fight is where things start getting really crazy.
Yeah, it's like once Toji shows up, yeah, this arc kind of goes into full gear and doesn't stop going into full gear.
Yeah.
Was
Koji,
totally
what did you think the craziest thing that happened was?
in line for Toji.
Crazy thing, I was going to say Nanami as I said, but now that I think about it, it's the aftermath of the Shibuya incident. On chapter 137, we can see about the notice of the headquarters that say 5 things, and mainly, Suguro, since Gedo's survival was assured, they had to execute it again. That's one of the parts. Now, second part, Saruro Gojo has been accomplished of the Shibuya incident, and he is now sealed, and it's a criminal act to seal him back. Third thing is that the principal of the Jujutsu school, high school, it's gonna have a death penalty. Now, Itadori, Juji, is going to be executed. It's been revoked, the execution suspension. And Okatsuku, it's gonna be the one who's gonna execute him. Even he says this, that he's gonna kill him.
Yeah.
That's the craziest part. That we're gonna see Okatsu obviously in action, but he's gonna head to Juji Itadori head to head. Like he's gonna be the one that kills Sukuna. So
I don't know what was crazier for me from that chapter, if it was Okotsu, well, really just Okotsu being back, or the part where they're like, "Oh yeah, Geto released 10 million spirits in Shibuya." No,
I
if
mean,
you
the
watched my
avoid
reaction for that, I
there.
was dumbfounded because I was like, "Oh yeah, he's probably got like 100, maybe." I don't know. I never considered that he'd have 10 fucking million. Does that mean Geto has like an infinite capacity for cursed spirits?
Well,
no, I think that
assumed
he
that
has a
before.
capacity, but it has notification.
I doubt he has infinite.
Well,
Yeah,
it seems
that
like
would be
a common
utterly
trend among special grades is
Well,
having unlimited something.
I guess guess he has unlimited fucking curse spirits then.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's terrifying.
He's even more busted than I thought. He's gonna have to go up on the power ranking.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Wait,
Probably.
one of the craziest part is Inumaki's also getting his arm cut off,
All
right?
right, and they had to put like curse sealing things, so maybe Malevolent
Yeah,
Shrine also has like a
talismans.
poison effect.
Yeah,
that one
it's
actually
like
makes sense. Yeah,
Something we
that could be
we
cool.
don't
Yeah.
fully know what like Shrine does as Sukuna gets stronger, because like we know it can cut the shit out of you, but are there other effects? That's the
Oh yeah,
scary.
yeah, there has to be other effects.
Yeah, it's like that's the scary thing. We still don't know the full potential of that.
Yeah, and we can
No,
assume
but-
that Sukuna has more techniques than just like that.
Oh right,
open-
the fire thing didn't get explained yet. If you look up real life Sukuna, because he's an actual like
Yeah.
demon vengeful spirit
He-
thing from Japanese
Yeah.
myth,
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
does
I know
have
that one.
like he has like 2 swords and a bow and arrow. So that is actually like all of his weapons from the real life Sukuna. But real life Sukuna doesn't have a fucking domain expansion, so he could have literally anything.
Oh yes, he could.
Also doesn't have anything to do with poisons in
It's true.
real
He
world.
doesn't have anything to do with poison either, so that'll be interesting. Oh,
So-
listen, I think I mentioned this in my review, but if um, Toge, if Inumaki was like in Malevolent Shrine, he'd be dead. So
if he was fully,
for
if
just
he
his
was
arm to have been cut off, that means he had to have been like standing just outside of Malevolent Shrine and was like sticking his arm into it. So
Well,
I imagine he was like trying to help someone, and then the domain expansion activated.
mhm,
I feel like we're going to get a very traumatic flashback of that at some point.
yeah.
Maybe.
Because I mean, when I looked at the panel, you know, when they said, "Hey, we got the microphone guy with us," if you like look close to Inumaki, he starts sweating. Like you can see the sweat coming up like off of him. So I don't know that he noticed like something very bad is about to happen. He did something to get out of there, you know, or like what? But he did start sweating, you know, when like the 2 girls said that we got the microphone guy here.
Well, I think that
Well-
was their memory. So he was probably using his technique for a bit. That may have been why he was
Yeah, that
like
too. That too.
exerted. Man,
And I assume you won't. You also could notice just Sukuna getting launched through like 2 buildings
Five.
without anything.
oh right, yeah,
Five.
they did.
I
I
actually
think
counted
someone did point out that Malevolent Shrine was going outside of the curtain. So there were some people. Well, no, you know what? Fuck that. After the curtain was gone, like the Shibuya was just non-existent. So like,
Yeah.
even if that didn't happen, whenever the curtain came down, everyone would be like, "Hey guys, what the fuck? Where
There will
did
be-
the major metropolitan center in Tokyo go?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
like
that's
a
good.
terrorist attack. Am I right, Matt?
What happened to the
Most of it.
center of the world's third largest economy? I think,
Wait,
or
if
the
I
third
remember
largest
correctly,
city.
no, because Shibuya, if I remember correctly, you said that Sukuna's domain expanded even outside the curtain. So I guess
Yeah,
that
like he was kind
every
of.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, never
about
mind.
that.
Japan's the second. What the fuck? I'm looking up information on world economies in the middle of a jujitsu podcast. Incredible.
Yeah, it is.
No, Japan is
Yeah.
the third. Whatever. It's not super important. Japan makes big money. So when the center of the biggest city in one of the largest economies in the world gets fucking vaporized, they're going to notice that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
it's gonna leave a little mark on everyone and give like they're gonna see curses mainly. Because remember that in order to see curses, you have to have a curse or have a big burden. Everyone's maybe the survivor's gonna have like gonna see stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, thank
So,
God we have Mei doing sorcerer insider trading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
It's
wonder.
more-
You know what?
maybe
I think
it's
she was
more
talking to a character we haven't met yet. Because I don't think we've
Yeah,
met
pretty
anyone
sure.
that's like into the stock market or real estate market. So I think we're going to be learning more of that stuff.
Amy
in the next
talking to someone on Wall Street bets.
Yeah, definitely. She was telling him.
GameStop.
So I think didn't she say the person she was talking to, it was morning where they live? So
Yeah,
wouldn't that mean they
probably.
were living in like America or something, or in the Americas?
Yeah.
Not
It's
By the
really.
way,
I'd say Pacific actually.
Okay, so maybe
yeah,
not necessarily America. Hold on, I have to
yeah.
look at the world time zones now to
No,
try and
I'm
figure
gonna
out
do
where
it.
everything is.
Japan
I'm gonna
is
do Atlantic.
should
Don't
be
worry.
morning because it's like
If
11
it's
Atlantic.
p.m.
11 o'clock in, I forgot where Maymay and
Kuala
Yui
Lumpur,
went.
Malaysia.
They went to Malaysia. If it's like 11 at night in Malaysia, it's morning on the other side of the world. And I'm pretty sure the Americas are on the other side of the world. Or there's something around the Americas on the other side of the world.
And it's the day border, daytime border where it changes dates. I don't get that at all. So
And this will
Yeah,
be the
America was
benefit
actually
of
March.
doing live streams in the future, is whenever I don't know what anything is, hopefully there will be some useful person in the chat that can tell me. But in the meantime, we're just gonna be bullshitting things right now.
Yeah, and mostly, let's not forget. I was thinking about something when they had about the curtain topic about everything. I thought like mainly like everyone that lives in a house or something like that that has a basement better has to hide in there because everything's gonna be a catastrophe.
Well, they
And
live
when
in
I
a city.
see,
Would they even have basements around there? I don't know what. Like, if they live in
yeah, but like
apartments.
storage basements exist there.
That's
So, but when I saw Supranos that had
getting fucked.
200 like 200 meters something
Yeah,
radius.
200
Yeah, it
Like
was
meter
200
radius.
meters. The very big. The very big.
it's yeah, it's like a big nuke stand ability, something like
What the
that. Well,
fuck?
Yeah, if you're in it, you're done.
yeah,
Getting
basically.
fucking spam
Well,
comments
mean-
on my Hell's Paradise video. This sucks.
I'm not sure if the basement could have saved someone inside that 200-meter radius nuke.
No,
yeah,
right?
probably
it's also a
not.
radius, not even a diameter. It's the radius, and that was like 140. So it means like
Oh, right, he
200.
did shrink it. It could have been 200 meters, but he reduced it. Because he was
Yeah,
like,
Yeah,
to
oh,
also
140.
it's a
To
radius,
140.
so it
Yeah.
would be double the size of it in a diameter.
yeah.
400 diameter, just bloop, gone.
Yep, that is pretty, yeah, that is pretty crazy, actually. Man, side topic, who has the most dangerous domain expansion? I mean, there's probably still
Sukuna,
GOJO's.
I
Actually,
have to go with Gojo. Huge in the
actually,
future. Huge in
we
the
have
future.
strong No. Self-embodiment of perfection is not as dangerous as
Yeah.
unlimited void. I think it's more dangerous than malevolent shrine because you literally can't.
yeah,
You can do
Yeah,
fuck
but
all
the
else.
thing is,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know about self
Gojo
Or
embodiment.
no,
would
it's not that you can't do
do
fuck all because you
anything.
really can't do anything about most domain expansions. But like, if you don't die in someone else's domain expansion, you can be probably healed. In self-embodiment of perfection, when you get hit with idle transmutation, you are screwed. You are boned.
Oh, yeah, you're done.
You become a Kronberg
but
in here.
isn't by unlimited, limitless, the domain expansion of Gojo Saduro? It's like there's no escape, right? So you're basically stuck there until you die, basically, right? Or
Yeah,
basically,
pretty much.
Until he wants to let you. I mean, depending on who you are, because like, if you're a human,
yeah,
you are done. Like if he
Yeah,
goes
but
over 1 second, you're done.
Yeah, you are
I'm
gonna
trying
fucking die, basically. It would not be good.
Eleven Shrine has the
it's not.
range, while Unlimited Void has the
See,
prison.
here's the thing about that. The thing about like Malevolent Shrine, you know what I'm saying? I think it can get bigger because they
Oh,
said
you
it
mean
was
Malevolent
200
Shrine
meters.
or Unlimited Void?
No, like both basically. I was gonna talk about both, but
Okay,
like,
because you kind of said both at the same time. You said like Unlimited
yeah, I did.
Shrine.
But when it comes to like Malevolent Shrine, I think it can get bigger and stuff like that. But when you talk about like Gojo's domain, like people forget about this. But they said that the curtain was 400 meters, right?
The
Then
biggest one,
Ghetto, yeah, they
not the
said the
not,
curtain.
In
not the smallest
diameter or
one.
the radius?
No, they said the radius was 400 meters
Okay,
So,
that makes
for the
sense
curtain.
because
Yeah,
a 400-meter
or
diameter would not be that
all right.
big for like the
So
city.
yeah, so they said it was 400 meters. I mean radius, yeah. So when they said that Geto, the brain guy, who has control over Geto, whatever, he knows everything about Gojo. You might as well say, but he stated that Gojo's domain, like if it was to be fully like expanded, it would crush the humans between the curtains in his domain, which
Well,
means Gojo's
which
domain,
curtain?
Yeah,
Because there were
the
like
the
the,
small
the
four
actual
layers. There
curtain.
were like they were progressively smaller as you got like closer to the
Well,
center.
and
So I
it's
but he
think
just
just
said that's the thing. He just said the curtain, so I'm taking it as like the curtain of the 400 meters, because he also was saying like the
that would
buildings
be
and the
fucking
curtains.
nuts if Gojo's domain get that
And
big.
here's the
insane.
thing.
He
Here's the
doesn't
thing.
deliver
He
in
only
time.
expanded it within 0.2 seconds, so it didn't have time to really, go do everything. If you get what I'm
Well, when
trying
we
to
Yeah,
say.
saw
but
him use it
it
against
takes
Jogo, it wasn't that big. It was actually kind of small.
Yeah,
I,
it
I
was
was
think
just like
I
basically
see.
small.
I think that's because he was overpowering Jogo's. It just took the form of Jogo. If you
Yeah,
get what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
So
It
I
didn't have
basically
yeah.
to.
think, what if it's the domain expansion depending on where should use first? Like for example, what you said about Jogo mainly. Jogo used domain expansion, and then Gojo basically used expansion to counter him back, and it took the whole space of Jogo's instead. But if it's no domain expansion, I think that it could basically be that,
Yeah.
unless
Since it wasn't mentioned until Sukuna did it, I feel like dictating the size of your domain expansion is like super high level shit.
Yeah.
Like getting
I mean,
domain
yeah,
the regular
expansion
expansion
already
is
is like
already
you are at the peak of the Jujutsu world. But
Yeah.
for you to be like, I think I'll reduce
Yeah.
the size from 200 meters to 140 meters is like you have got to be like top of the verse to pull that kind of shit off.
Yeah,
And
because
he,
correct me
mhm.
if I'm wrong, but we've only seen two Sorcerer's Domain expansions, Gojo's and part of Megumi's. Those are the only
It's
two.
it's incomplete, but it
Yes.
is
Yeah, I
considered.
think so.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's
with
yeah. That just
Jogo
kind of shows off how
yeah.
big
and
of a deal it is.
Dagon.
Like
And
Gojo,
And let's not forget.
Sense because he's
Right.
technically a Zen, so that just made
Yeah.
sense.
I'm wondering who else we'll
Basic,
see one from next. Maybe we'll finally see that elusive Okotsu domain expansion that we've been
yeah.
hearing so much
Neil,
about, right, Fine?
And
Neil,
like for Gojo, they said that Gojo could like do like more than one domain within one day. So that's another reason why I believe his could get bigger.
Yeah,
That just shows you. And the domain expansion take up a lot of percentage, as he even stated.
yeah. Maybe when
So
we
yeah.
see Okotsu's domain expansion, we won't have to fucking headcanon him being
Oh
stronger
yeah.
than Gojo.
yeah, with that head
Yeah.
cannon
Not
embedded
naming
in
any
the
names from
episode.
people,
I agree with that one.
because that's probably not a good idea to fucking to name people
Somebody said he had simple domain user.
without
I was like,
seeing
I
that he
mean,
has him. It's fucking
yeah, I was like, we
headcanon.
don't know that, so we gotta wait. So
Well, I'm
uh,
not gonna say something about someone's
Yukon.
strength if we haven't
Miss,
seen them do
Miss,
something.
I got a question. I got a question.
Yes,
Do simple domains counts as the domains that we talk about? Because remember,
Yes,
they're simple domains,
I forgot
aka the
exactly
domains
how
that
simple
we.
domain works, but as far as I understand it, it's just
the
like a very
it's anti
like
magic basically.
basic rudimentary domain expansion. It's like
Yeah,
the bare minimum for something to count as a domain expansion.
but
domain for the
it's
normal
like a
people.
base.
Mm-hmm.
Koji, what were you
Well,
gonna say? Or not Koji, fine. What were you gonna say?
I
It's
would
the
call it like anti.
domain for the normal people. It was called, or the normal sorcerers, at least.
Yeah, I wonder. So we've seen a lot of it. Listen. Oh right, that's another crazy thing that happened. Oh, right, the crazy shit. Let's get through that so I can bring up the other crazy thing that I just remembered
Yeah.
happened somehow. Who were we on? I think we were on Koji. So, Koji, you said the craziest shit was the shit that happened last chapter with the edicts from the higher ups. So
Mhm.
Neo, what did you think was the wackiest, wildest thing that happened in the Shibuya incident?
One is Yuki showing up at the very end. I did not see that coming in the slightest.
It seems like a lot of people did. Everyone was like, "Oh, Yuta's going to come back." Remember that art that
I
was
don't
going
think
around
anyone
of
was
like
like, just like,
Yuta protecting Yuji? Boy, that aged like fucking milk, didn't it?
and why did it? But basically, like, I never expected like Yuki to show up, and this is the first time she showed up in the current story, and I did not expect that. It just Her
Yeah.
showing up blew my mind. Like, oh shit, she's here now.
I was certainly taken by surprise.
Yeah.
Another one that the entire Dagon fight, just that.
That was
Everything
pretty
with it.
fucking crazy.
Just everything.
I love that
Um,
fight so much. It's not my favorite fight, which says a lot
It's
about
not.
the quality of the fights in this series. But man,
Oh,
that fight is so fucking fun to
but
reread.
and probably
You
the craziest thing,
had 5 chapters before that.
What?
Sukuna.
Like Yasuguna coming back?
Sukuna basically blowing up like a good portion of Shibuya. Just I read that chapter, I'm like, oh.
I don't
all
think it
that.
really sunk in until we see the start of 120, and I'm like, oh my god, there is a wasteland. Like he vaporized Shibuya. There's nothing left. Or, there's nothing left. He fucking vaporized
Yeah.
like several city blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
God.
The fact that it could have been more bigger is like devastating and scary at the same time.
Yeah. So, Teo, what did you think was the craziest thing? The craziest moment or whatever. I know there are a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot. Because I really just want to say, like, just the whole Maharaga and Sukuna fight. But, like, within that fight, it'll probably be, like, the Malevolent Shrine as it was explained. Because it's like, depending, like, if you're just fighting Sukuna going hard, you don't even know you're about to die. You're not looking at him. Like, looking at his hands. It's like, wow, I'm just dead. Because I'm in his radius. And it's like, just that being explained the way it is like, that's crazy. And one more other thing I do want to say that was very crazy is like the whole Yuji memory thing with Chozo. Not when it first happened, but I have to say when Chozo came back to Yuji, because you're thinking like, okay, Chozo just got himself together. Chozo is like, who am I? Who are you, Yuji Tadori? And it's like, yeah, he's about to go back, cause chaos. Then he comes in like, he's my little brother, and it's like, are you serious? Like, he's really fighting for Yuji right now. And then it makes you even think more because Chozo he said, I can only feel my brother's death because we are connected by blood. But then he stated that he felt the sensation of Yuji's death. So it's like, is it really memories or is it something deeper than that? Because he said he felt Yuji's death. And he is not his brother. He is not connected by blood. So that's why I'm like, that's crazy. Yeah.
I think it's kind of like I'm not sure. I can't think of a specific character to think of, but it seems like the memory thing. It seems kind of like Book of the End.
I think too. Book of the End from Bleach, right?
Yeah. It seems like it will literally fucking bend reality. It will literally bend how people's abilities work. It's like how the Six Eyes still sees Imposter Ghetto as the real Ghetto, which is
That was
fascinating.
crazy too.
That's another
Yeah.
interesting thing that I want to talk about. This is
Well,
great.
it's
This
the
art
real
brought up
Ghetto's
so many
body.
interesting things that I want to talk about because they have a lot of fascinating implications. I somehow forgot about that because that completely the moment with Chozo completely put Yuji's moment with Toto in a new context.
Oh yeah.
Because initially it's just like, oh yeah, Toto's a crazy person.
He's a funny guy.
He's a lunatic. So that was just like, oh yeah, haha, Toto is like a really what's the word I'm looking for here? Quirky guy. He's pretty
Yeah.
out there. But then when this happens, you're like, oh, hey, welcome back. You're just like, oh. And the way that he reacts to it, you're just like, oh, this is really messed up. This is really messed up shit that this thing does.
Mhm.
It's funny, funny joke from that one tournament arc now is a bit more grim.
Yeah, it has a much
It is.
darker context to it now. I almost got the impression when Chozo showed back up that it was like this force exerting itself onto him. Like it's like, hey, Yuji is your brother, and just like telling him that over and over again, and then he's like gives into it when he shows back up. So it's like really fucked up mind fuckery stuff. It has very dark implications of forcing someone to be someone that cares about you It's really messed up.
Yeah. Wait, isn't Choso, if I remember correctly, part of like something like he probably lost everything and lost to insanity itself to the extent that he believed a lie. That's basically what
It
happened
seems like
with Yuji,
Chozo
right?
has basically lost his mind. Or he was losing his mind for a bit. And
Yeah,
now
but I
it's
think that
just overwritten. It literally overwrites your brain. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
How important Ghetto's gonna
meaning
be.
that he's at the good side or bad side, like how?
When Chozo showed back up and started protecting Yuji, I just for the next week or two, I could not stop thinking about that. Like, so that is an ability Yuji has, the weird memory thing.
Well, is it like an
Infinite.
ability or is it
Or
a
curse.
curse that's been placed on him by his grandfather? Because as we know,
Yeah.
as been implied, kind of, is that
Oko, with Oko too.
words, like just saying things to people, can put curses on them. So just telling Yuji something like that as you die and it having a big emotional impact on him could literally create a curse where whenever Yuji is dying, it will make the nearest person who's not friends with him friends with him.
It's like
Or
what
not even
happened
friends with him,
with
like more than friends with him. Like someone that you would have with you on your deathbed.
that. Didn't it? Nanami said something like that. Like for example, he said when he was gonna die, that at one of his death scene, that if he knew that he said in his mind that if he calls him Haibara, it's gonna make him a curse and
No.
curse
If he said, I
Yuji.
think he said, like, if I say this to Yuji, it will just become a curse for him. So it was him, like,
Haibara.
he was, like, very carefully choosing his words for what to say to Yuji.
Yeah.
Because if he said something that was, like, some kind of, prerogative, like, I don't know, like, literally, words of encouragement that are not passive could have become, like, a fucking curse. Like, if he was like, fucking, I don't know, think of something. If it was anything other than I believe in you, basically, you got it from here, it could have become like some sort of reality breaking curse that would just make things happen around Yuji.
Yeah, so he had to choose basically his word carefully because he said in his mind basically, if I call him Haibara, this is gonna happen.
No. I think he was just
Yeah.
seeing Hybra. He wasn't gonna call him Hybra. But if it was something
Oh
like,
yeah.
live a good life, or something like that, or
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. Like if he's telling Yuji to do something, it could become a curse for him.
Yeah, because Nanami said
Actually,
by the looks
that's
of
what
it.
it is. That is my understanding of how cursing people works. When Rika got run over, it was literally Akotsu repeating over and over again, "Don't die." Then we had the thing with Yuji's grandfather telling him to not die alone. So that
And yeah,
seems to be
Surrounded
the
by
general trend for accidentally cursing someone.
by the way, I think that isn't Nanami tried to say something because remember when Nanami tried to choose his words, so basically he
What I
tried to
got the
tell
impression
Yuji
of was that he
something.
thought Haibara was telling him to say something to Yuji, and he was like, no, I can't tell him that. That would become a curse for him.
I could actually see
Yeah.
that he got cursed by Haribara at some point when he died. That could be.
No, I don't think there was really anything that implied that. I think that was just because Haibara was like his
Yeah.
best friend.
Yeah,
Like that
because
was just the
it
reason
was
he saw him there.
because remember, jujutsu sorcerers need to be strong mentally and psychologically. That's why I think that Nanami didn't have Haibara as a curse and nothing more like that. Basically, that's the reason why Haibara wasn't a curse because jujutsu sorcerers are strong mentally and psychologically.
Well, probably
Like for
also because he got
example,
killed by a curse. Because apparently, if you don't get killed with cursed energy, you'll come back. But for sorcerers, they get killed by curses all the time. So, like, for
yeah,
most of them, I assume it's just like, oh, if a sorcerer just gets killed like on a mission, it'll probably be fine. But if they get like shot by some random person, it'll probably end badly.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So that was, what else was I thinking of? There was that. That was the
You said
crazy
something about
moment.
the
There was the
Gojo and
Chozo thing. What else? God
I
damn
think
it.
you
There
said something
was
about the Gojo jump.
Gojo.
One.
And Ghetto, the 6 eyes thing you
Yeah.
was talking about. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I was thinking of some other crazy moment for after the fact. No, that was the memory thing. The implications of Six Eyes seeing uh, the brain as the real ghetto is fascinating because apparently the Six Eyes are like all seeing or something. Like we still don't know what they do, but the way they seem to work is that they're just like all seeing eyes. I think it's a
Well,
reference to Buddhism. I've heard something like there's five
Yeah,
eyes or
it's
something. So with it being a six eyes,
yeah.
it's literally on another level or whatever. I don't know. I don't know shit about Buddhism.
Well,
Um,
Buddhism is basically like, for example, let's say Buddha Gautama that could, by just seeing your face or something like that, he could know your past and everything. Basically, success could be like that. He just sees you and can see your memories, knows what
with
you're
the six
thinking in
eyes,
the
I don't think
past.
it's that crazy, but it seems to be like you can recognize someone's cursed energy. You can recognize someone's presence. He could see Toji from
mhm,
behind him, even though no one had ever done that before. So they're
yeah,
literally like
Yeah,
they're like if something happens around you, you're aware of it because you have the six eyes. It's like
Yeah,
seeing it. They're literally all seeing eyes. Like nothing happens around you without you knowing about it.
it's
Um,
basically like a radar, right? It's
they're
basically
god
like a
eyes.
radar.
They're
Yeah,
godly divine
the
eyes.
Byakugan, the thing from Naruto, what Hinata has, like where you have like 360 vision all time, something like that.
Fascinating. I still haven't read Naruto.
yeah.
But I will assume you're making a correct comparison here.
Uh,
This is
yeah, if
interesting.
I remember,
Oh, what were you gonna say,
if,
Neo?
if I remember serve me correctly, if the Sissites do work similar to a Byakugan, then it is a radar, but it's probably a lot wider in this case.
Probably like a better
yeah.
Byakugan. Byakugan was
Like
also it could see the chakra points in a person's body and and then they could shut that down. But
Yeah, I would say, it's that too. Not only that, I believe Gojo can also read the intent of people, like their emotions with the 6 eyes. 'Cause he was able to figure out like was Yuji lying or not when he did the deal with Sukuna, and he actually was like, yeah, Yuji's telling the truth because he doesn't remember it. Not only that, when the grandpa and the grandsons in the flashback, when like Gojo was like 10 or 11, just walking in the streets, they were basically going to assassinate. And then he just looked up and was looking at them before they could even make their move. So it's like he can kind of feel the tent, people's
Um,
intent to kill.
probably
yeah,
small
not
variations in the cursed energy flow. Just recognize that.
Yeah.
wait. I think that
It
I
was
got
still
an
needed.
idea.
Mhm.
So it's basically, if I can see it correctly by the looks of it, let's put like Chumatsu as an example. Jack's eyes, like for example, on Record Ragnarok, can see emotions. It's basically like radar that can know by curse energy, like the Akugan from shock
Yeah.
that senses chakra points. Let's say the emotions. Let's say he can see the truth and lies between truth and lies. So it's basically an interrogator, and he can see every move. Like for example, he can analyze good, like great body language. So it's basically like a perfect eyesight. It's it's perfect body language reader. It can see if you're telling the truth or you're not. It can
Mhm.
basically hear your cursed energy. It
Mhm.
can literally see from afar and can see if you're a living body or not, a living vessel or not. So basically, that's the six eyes. It's
Yeah.
basically all seeing.
And
I
And
just
I
looked
would
up
add on.
the Five Eyes of Buddhism, and it's a bunch of spiritual mumbo jumbo that I don't understand, but it's basically what I thought it was. Is you're
Mhm.
seeing like different aspects of reality, but there are five. So with the six eyes, I think it's definitely some kind of reference to that. Where is he on an even higher level? It's probably like cursed energy is the sixth eye. Um, but
Yeah,
the most interesting thing about the way the brain works, not like the brain, but the brain, um, is when he says that, oh, over the millennia, I made binding vows with a bunch of cursed spirits and sorcerers, but when I switched bodies, the vows were nullified, which means that not only does the Six Eyes recognize the brain as whoever's body it's inhabiting, but whatever weird universal force dictates binding vows also presumably sees the same things as the Six Eyes do. Which is another thing. What the fuck? Like, we know about Black Flash, we know about binding vows, but
Yeah.
it's weird how there is like this universal force that forces you to maintain binding vows and you'll be punished if you break them. So that's another, like, that's gonna be, I think that's gonna be like end of the series shit that we learn about. But it's interesting
Yeah.
that the Six Eyes and whatever dictates binding vows seem to operate on the same level.
Now I want to add something to the Six Ups. Like, I do, understand that what you said about the binding valve thing. And one thing I will say about the Six Eyes is like they do, do all the things that Koji said. And I would also have to say that like Gojo perceives time in a way quicker way than like normal people do. Because that said, 3 years of Gojo's life, you know what I'm saying, like just went by, in an instant inside of Gojo's head. But in real life, it was like a minute or something. And like not even just that. When Gojo got trapped in the prison room, he didn't have a sun, he didn't have a moon. He was just in complete darkness. And he was able to actually tell that time didn't even move. So I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous. To be
Actually,
able to
that
know
is a
that.
really interesting detail that he would just know that upon being in there.
See?
Yeah.
I didn't even think
So
about that. I thought it was just like something you could feel upon being in there, but I didn't really think about it. It's kind of like what is it, the Don guy from Bleach? Actually, I had
no.
never thought about that before until Griever brought it up in his stream. But if Gojo is actually training in the prison realm while time doesn't move, it's gonna be fucking nuts.
Break out.
That'll be
You finally
hilarious if
get
Gojo's training in prison realm.
Yeah. Question.
Yeah.
We have some reference now. We can use as reference, right? Like for example, Dragon Ball's time
I don't give a
prison
shit if you
that
use
you might
references
know.
to other series as long as it helps me understand.
No,
As
it's
long as it
not like
helps the
that.
viewers
I-
understand what we're talking
No,
about.
it's not a weird question. It's like
Oh
to
man.
see if the seal can work it that way for Gojo or Jogo, whatever it's called. Sorry, my God. The present time present from Dragon Ball. It's basically it makes you stronger, but time goes faster there. It's basically that weird connection between time because while the normal world the time flows normally, the seal, it's like nothing passes there. So you can basically be 100 years there, and you'll feel like it happened like not a long time, but at the same time, it happened like a whole century in planet Earth. So basically, when he breaks out, if he gets to breaks out in decades or later, it'll be like an OP new Gojo 2.0, and we'll see like a new era of curses and humans, right?
Goddamn. I hadn't even
I think he'd be the
contemplated the
same.
concept of Gojo
Yeah.
with like a century of training time.
Yeah, I think he'd be the same Gojo because like since time doesn't pass and nothing just happens, I think it'd be just like he went in. I think that's what he'd probably say. Like it's just like I
What does
came
that
back.
mean? Time doesn't pass here. Like nothing's
Get the
happening, but
feel.
you're doing
It could
things in the
mean
prison realm. Like you're sitting
it.
around talking.
See,
So clearly, time is
of
moving.
age.
see, that's the thing. That's the infinity. I feel like that's protecting them too.
It's
Because
like the
remember what?
Warder.
Fuck you.
Mhm,
It's like the
yeah,
Warder, right?
Oh god.
Are you asking if it's
because
like frozen time,
yeah,
Koji?
that's what
Yeah.
I think.
I
It's
Because
just
feel
like
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 when you're in
no.
the prison
Prison
realm,
realm
it's
is
just like
so weird. Like it's such a
for
broken object, and we don't
yeah,
understand how it works. Really, we know it seals them. It'll become unsealed in I don't know however long. It could be a century. It could be a millennia. And
Oh,
apparently, Gojo
apparently,
will be alive when it opens. So yeah, like I guess maybe just the passage of time doesn't affect him in there.
I guess
Maybe
it's
that's what
just
he
like
means.
yeah, because of the infinity, because
seeing
of
the prison
space.
realm,
I feel
just
like.
like time just becomes non-existent. It's just like null.
I am outside of time. It doesn't matter. It's fucking gone.
I'm
See,
just gonna guess he either just
Doesn't.
gets frozen in time, and he just says that like, "Ah, fuck," and then he gets frozen because there were some skeletons in there, which was just
exactly.
I
okay.
was
They were
No,
trying to touch him.
wondering
They
what
couldn't
those
touch him.
are. Because the
Yeah,
positioning of them, it almost looks like they're trying to, like, grab Gojo. But they can't
yeah,
because of the
that's like
infinity.
I thought that it's like the sealing process and just like he would be frozen in time in there, but I guess he's just out of time now.
Because of the infinity. I feel like that's because infinity.
Yeah.
Like time has no effect like on his space, you know.
The sealing
And
only works like halfway, and he just doesn't age, but he can still do stuff, but he just doesn't age.
all right.
I feel like that's probably what it is. It's probably that, where he can do shit, but the actual passage of time has no effect on like his body. He experiences time, but it doesn't affect him.
Yeah.
It's
Looks like
basically like he doesn't ages. Like everything can move, but his body doesn't ages or nothing like that. Now the question is that since he was resting in some type of rock or well, something like that, some creepy vibe, he could break it, and could it move, or could time freeze and stop it from breaking? So that will be good for training, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
basically that.
Yes.
can actually train within the prison realm. Once he gets out, oh god, that's gonna be terrifying.
Oh, I don't even know how much stronger Gojo can get. I almost
Oh,
like
Yeah, it's like
Gojo almost
he's
seems
already
like
at the
he's at a
top
he
of the
can
certain.
get pretty
bird.
strong. Cause like if you
He's-
look at the character bio of like Gojo, like Gigi says, like he can do anything and everything. He just tries not to leave it
Hmm.
for like the rest to do. So like the
It's like
Six
in
Eyes
most
could have an
series,
ability to copy like other techniques. He just used the limitless because he's like, if he does
yeah,
that, it'd be cheap.
Yeah.
because we've only seen Akka, Ao, and Hollow Purple. He could have others.
Yeah.
It's true. There
In
could be
most
other.
series,
He
it's
could have
like
another color. He can mix more colors together. I don't know
like,
what
Yeah.
that would even look like. You
All
know
right.
what?
See,
We have not
he
seen modern Gojo serious,
We have not.
and we
oh my
haven't
god, we
Prime
seen.
haven't. The
Gojo
last time we
series.
saw him serious was the Toji thing.
Yeah. That
And
was
he
a
wasn't full
young
power yet.
Gojo.
He didn't have his domain expansion yet. He hadn't
Exactly.
mastered the infinity yet. He was nowhere
Marvel
near as
Yeah.
good as he is in the present.
Terrifying.
We haven't seen Sukuna was not serious fighting Maharaga. He was
Facts.
a little
Yeah.
serious. He was just
Yeah,
like,
he
oh
made
shit, I actually have to put effort into killing this thing. Cool.
It's just like, damn.
That's the most impressive feat of Maharaga is forcing Sukuna to take a fight a little seriously. It was
Yeah,
like
a little.
when Sukuna fought the Curse Womb, he was like, "All right, you're a loser. I'm going to use Malevolent Shrine to flex on you." With Maharaga, it was like, "Wow, this thing's kind of strong. I guess. I guess I actually have to use my domain expansion on it." I don't
Yeah,
know if that counts as him being serious or not. He
No,
didn't
I
look
think
also
that.
with the
serious.
curse wound, it's like
Yeah, I don't
Nah.
think so.
nonchalantly that they were both special grade, and he found it funny. Like you and me are the same.
It's funny. He points out how shitty the
Yeah.
jujutsu classifications are, which is funny because in Griever's first stream he was like, "This ranking system seems kind of inadequate. Like special
Yeah.
grade is a really
It's like
vague
One Punch
ranking when you have this kind of disparity between special grades," which is true, and that's something they
It's
talk
very
about.
similar to like
How
One Punch Man with like their ranking system. It's like you have some like demon level threats that are pathetic, but then you have some that can wreck so many people's shit. It's
yeah.
kind of the same thing.
Well, I think the
And
reason it's so inadequate is because they have not had to deal with special grades this strong in like 1,000 years. So the special grades
Yeah.
they've been used to are like the shitty Curse Womb special grade, which did not seem like you needed a cluster bombing to defeat, but whatever.
Yeah.
That may have been a little bit of an exaggeration. I mean, the current, you mean like the disaster spirits? Yeah, I could see you needing a cluster bombing to deal with one of those. But the current system is not up to date with the likes of the disaster spirits or Okotsu. Um, I assume, man, the implications of the brain's final action of the end of this arc, the return of the golden age of cursed techniques is wild. We're gonna be seeing a lot of crazy shit. We're gonna be seeing a bunch of new curses. We're gonna see a bunch of new sorcerers. We're gonna see a bunch of new hybrids, I guess. Whatever the hell you want to consider the likes
yeah,
of
there's more
Chozo.
curse wounds. Yep.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Honestly,
really interesting because I assume that means we're going to be seeing, well,
Curse Womb?
probably more domain expansions, which is always great. We're probably going to get.
honestly, when I finish reading, like chapter 136. I thought we were just gonna jump right into the Heian Flash. Just
Oh, did you think that? I'm so stupid. When I read that, I didn't even process that it was the Heian period that he was talking about. I thought that was just like the name of a golden age. Even though I've heard of the Heian period before, I didn't even process it.
like
Yeah.
Period.
Edo
Research-
period, Manji period,
Oh.
a lot of periods.
I have not studied Japanese history. I don't know. Like, I know the Edo period is like the it's like the early 1600s to late 1800s, and the Heian
You made
period was like 1,000 years ago. That's what I know of Japanese time periods.
It's basically
Yeah.
between less than 1,000 and more than 1,000.
Yeah.
Basically that. It's that like the last of the culture.
when I did
They
research
started
on
showing-
when it took place, I realized, oh shit, that's the same time frame as Sukuna.
I was like, oh shit.
Oh god.
I think as soon as he said, oh, I've been doing this for a millennium, I was like, oh, okay, I see. You're from his time.
Because
Cool.
like up to that point we had no idea like how old the brain actually was. And that gave us a lot of context like it's the same at the time as Sukuna. Terrifying.
When they showed that Naruto Shikamo had the stitches too, and he said, oh, I've gone by many names, I'm like, that guy was not the first one. He was just like another body that you took over and ruined the reputation of, probably. I have no idea if Naruto Shikamo was actually evil the whole time, or if he just took him over because he was an influential person with resources, and then fucked over his reputation by being an evil scumbag.
It's like
We will maybe probably learn in the future at some point.
Anyway, I get a question. It's about some abilities. If I remember correctly, when he said high-end period, it was basically Sukuna's age, meaning that just like in Kimetsu no Yaiba, it's like the older the demon is, the stronger it is. It's basically that. And
Kind of. Well, in Kimetsu
Yeah.
no Yaiba, the reason demons that have been around for so long are much stronger is just because they've been able to eat people for longer, so they've just gotten stronger for being
how you
around
get
that long.
it.
With curses and stuff from the Heian period, it seems like the Heian period was just a really shitty time. If curse spirits and curse techniques were that powerful, everyone must have just been fucking miserable back then. I don't know what was going on in the
It
Heian
feels like
period. I assume it wasn't
curse
fun.
spirits, like the same like strength as Sukuna, and like there were dozens of them.
Yeah.
Of how-
I would
Well,
say,
I feel like the reason. Okay, I doubt there was anyone as strong or stronger than Sukuna during the Heian
Maybe.
period,
Around.
but I
It's
bet
just like
my prediction
GOJO.
is that back during the Heian period, curses and curse users as strong as the disaster spirits were like commonplace. Like they were just around.
yeah, like I
I-
believe. Like, go ahead.
Hmm.
Oh, no,
What
I
were
was
you
gonna
gonna
say
say?
like I like Sukuna. Like I believe like yeah he like when it I think you said the Kimetsu no Yaba thing. Like for me it's like Sukuna in general by him being alive for this long, he would be strong because like his fingers get stronger every day. So his fingers been like scattered for like thousands of years and stuff like that. So it's like when he do get full power, he'll be stronger than what he was. Not only just that, it's like what you said about like was Sakuna serious going up against like the special grade, and like I say no because it's like he stated that he had another technique, and to me I think Sakuna has another domain expansion that we're waiting to see.
Say if he does, I wouldn't be surprised. But it's like we saw how destructive he was with 15 of the fingers. Imagine
15
once he gets
fingers.
the last
Seven.
5.
Oh
Yeah.
That will be
Wouldn't
a serious
wouldn't
fight
that-
from Gojo.
Also,
oh
like,
my
we
God.
don't really
Wait,
know if
and
it's
Okatsu is gonna execute Itadori Juji, right? And he's
That
Sukuna's
he's
vessel.
appointed the executioner. He wants to kill him for taking off Inumaki's arm because he doesn't know Yuji. So that'll be interesting. I did find it amusing as soon as I read that chapter that the brain is right. Akotsu can't be the next Satoru Gojo because Gojo wouldn't do this shit.
Yeah. Gojo,
Yeah.
Like,
Trying
Okotsu literally does not
the
have the personality to be the next Satoru Gojo. Like, he is not you. He can't be the next you.
Yeah. Gojo
Plus, let's not.
he's a very special breed of a person.
Yeah. Hey, is Satoru Gojo the strong? Wait, is he the strongest because he's Satoru Gojo, or is he Satoru Gojo because he's the strongest? It's an interesting question from Geto, and I think that is maybe sort of the implication for Okotsu as to why he can't be the next Gojo. It's because he's not Gojo.
Yeah, like he doesn't have like this type of sparing, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
like
true.
there's more to Gojo being so broken other than just his curse technique. I get, like, I
This is
think it's
not the only
Gojo
reason
himself. It's the combination of Gojo's power and his personality and beliefs.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
why
personality
Gojo
and
is such a
kindness.
menace.
in like a lot of shonens, when you get like introduced to like the so-called strongest of a certain organization, it's usually because they're just sheerly strong. But with Gojo, it's like, yeah, it's undeniable he's one of the strongest characters we've seen in the series.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more than just he's strong. It's a lot.
Yeah.
The man is
Even
motivated.
the way he
Has a
look at the
dream.
world. Yeah, exactly.
I have a dream.
Yeah, what is Akotsu? Akotsu he's got the Ichigo motivation. He wants to protect his friends. Gojo is thinking on big brain, big picture stuff. That's why Akotsu can't replace him. It's because he doesn't have that mindset.
I think he was influenced by
Wait,
Geto a little bit
raining
personally, because
here?
if you like read like volume 0, Geto kept on asking him like, "Hey Yuta, you know why sorcerers exist? We exist for this and that," and Yuta keeps on saying like, "I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to know." Like Yuta even says in the prequel, "I'm not ready to make that choice yet." So
No.
then like he
Oh,
asks
no.
Geto like, "What are you seeking?" You know what I'm saying? You talk like you're God, and Geto says, "I do not seek enlightenment. I seek esotericism." And like what esotericism is basically to understand the truths of the world and see how everything connects. And I don't know if that's what Yuta is chasing, like the truth of curse energy, or what, But I think he was influenced by Geto in the prequel.
So it's
The
like
way that Akotsu is now, I don't get the impression that he's really after any like big picture goal in particular. I don't get that vibe from him. Maybe he just hasn't been around long enough to have a goal like that.
His mind's probably corrupt, killing all the curses and being in different situations with curse users and like curse spirits and stuff. Because the Jujutsu Kaisen world would change. Even Yuji, he changed. The man even says, "I don't need meaning or reason. I'm just doing now." So it's like he probably, his mind is corrupt.
Yeah, I'm looking for a comment that I got on I think it was my Toji discussion. It was either the Toji or Geto discussion. I'll have to check. I
say
just saw a
something,
comment from someone who comments on a lot of my videos that I forgot about saying thanks for speaking like a normal person and not like the people that make anime essays. And that's pretty funny. No, I think it was on my Geto video because someone made a very interesting parallel between um, Gojo, Geto, Sukuna, and Toji, and it was like a Journey to the West comparison that was actually or it was like a Journey to the West in Buddhism comparison that I actually found really interesting. Yeah, so I need to see what some of these words mean, but I'll look them up now. While
No.
Koji says
At the
something.
moment, can I
Koji
say
wants to
something?
say something. Say a thing.
When we say Yokotsu is gonna fight Sukuna, I think that he's willing to fight Sukuna, meaning that he is conscious about Sukuna's fingers, right? So if that means that he's conscious about Sukuna's finger strength, very own strength, and he has right now like 15 or something like that, doesn't that mean that Okotsu is literally strong enough to mess with Sukuna in a way? Like I know that he's now an apprentice. He's not a jujutsu veteran or something like that. But he seems like he's changed a lot. Like you can see him in a prequel getting scared. He is calm, and when in his comeback right now, he seems more like a cold-minded person. Like you said, the difference between Gojo. So I think that when he's gonna fight Sukuna, Itadori, Juji, it's gonna be within a binding goal, so Sukuna can kill Okotsu.
Oh, and apparently Rickist. I wonder. what will happen when the
Yeah,
King and Queen of
the
Curses
biggest thing
clash.
now is like, what is with Rika?
That is my biggest question: is what the fuck is
That's
the deal with her
that's one
still
of
being
yeah.
around?
Personally, I think like her soul, it was actually free, but his cursed energy took the form and like the actual consciousness of Rika. You know what I'm saying?
I
Made
mean,
a
And
replica.
yeah, it could
The
work.
exactly, that's what I
most
think happened.
the most plausible explanation that I've heard that someone theorized is that what the deal was before was that Rika was trapped, like she was bound to a Kotsu, and at the
Mhm.
end of Volume Zero, she was free to go. But what is going on now is that Rika can come back when she wants and leave.
Whoa, that
That makes
is
sense.
crazy, but I
Protect the
like
kids
it.
still.
I like it.
Yeah, to be fair, Rika is a completely unpredictable curse spirit and probably one of the strongest we've seen. So
Yes, probably. Yeah, probably up there among the curses.
it's like the thing is like unlimited curse energy. That's
Yeah.
the biggest. Like that's when I read that for the first time in Volume Zero. I'm like, oh, okay, oh god.
He can do anything. I understand the idea, like in terms of sheer power, Okotsu can probably eventually unlimited cursed energy and unconditional copying of cursed techniques. Okotsu out of anyone has the potential to surpass Gojo. He
Yeah,
has
and
not yet,
mm,
because if he already had, Gojo getting sealed would not be as big of a deal as it is.
true. And something I do want to add on to that is like a lot of people forget this, but like a code school, yeah, he can copy other people's techniques and stuff like that. But something that a lot of people forget is he knows reverse curse. So that means he can copy somebody's technique and then reverse their own technique on them, which would be like, come on, bro. Like, why are you doing this to me? Like,
Let's not forget.
Oh, right, I
So basically,
forgot to mention, for all of you viewers out there, the background for this video was produced by Koji in Photoshop, showing how well
yo,
rescuing Satoru Gojo went for everyone. Um,
you said my
so,
plan and everything.
I don't know how to use
just
Photoshop. I assume Koji tried very hard to make this nice, so everyone thank
Yeah.
Koji in the
he actually
comments.
saved it.
Thank you, Koji.
Yeah.
Okay, I just found the comparison. So, Geto is essentially a false Buddha who could not detach from the world and reach enlightenment. Gojo is, of course, a Buddha. I mean, he literally was ripping lines from Buddha when he was fighting Toji, and he seems to have some kind of enlightenment from the Six Eyes. Toji is the Monkey King. I mean, he literally called himself a monkey. He steals a bunch of magical weapons from people and fights godlike sorcerers, basically. And Sukuna is effectively like a curse Buddha. He's like an evil Buddha, which makes sense since Malevolent Shrine is like a fucking corrupted Buddhist shrine. That wasn't as
Evil
long
Great
of
Tool.
this an analysis as I remembered, but it is pretty interesting to draw those comparisons.
Yeah, makes sense. It's good comparisons, yeah.
What was I gonna think of? Shit. Alright, it seems like we're done with that part. So, let's get into a real interesting discussion. This is, after all, a battle manga, and we did get quite a few fights out of this arc. Let's see. What did we
Quite a
have? We
few.
started off, we had Gojo versus the special grades in the subway.
Yeah.
I'm listing them
we
all off so that we can
had
get into the bit. We had Gojo versus the special grades. We had Yuji versus the Locust Spirit. We had it was Yuji, Megumi, and Ino versus the Curse User family. Then we had Yuji versus Chozo, Meimei, and Yu versus the Smallpox deity, the Dagon fight. Then we had Sukuna versus Jogo, Sukuna versus Maharaga. Am I forgetting one? No, and then we had the Mahito fight. So out of all of the fights in this arc, which one was the best?
Toto and Yuji
Oh.
versus Mahito for me, personally.
Okay. We're going to debate it. So just say which one was your favorite first, and then we'll get into big discussion. So, TEOO liked the last fight.
here's my favorite.
Three in the count of three at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Gojo getting sealed.
No, I asked you what the best fight was, not the best.
This guy.
This is why this is why I'm here to correct you, Koji. What fight the best? Are you saying the fight against the special grade, Gojo versus the special grades, was the best fight in the arc?
No, I would say like the reverse curse technique, that it's inversion technique. How
What
was
the
it?
fuck are you
How was
talking
that?
about, Koji?
Oh,
Inverse-
Megumi and Itadori Joji
Asaka.
versus
Asaka.
Asaka, the
The
guy that
grandpa.
has invert technique.
The
Inverse
guy
tech.
that's able
Which is
to
broken.
invert impacts?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Which is broken.
Sorry for yelling at you, Koji.
Here-
Okay.
It's fine. Just hurt feeling, my bad. Just
So we got 2
I'm
down
gonna
now.
pretend.
Who
My
else?
favorite.
What else did you think was the best?
The entire Dagon.
Okay,
I
great.
think that was the
That was
best.
greatest.
Fine.
That was greatest.
It's
I'd say the Mahito
not
fight.
that we saw so many characters go up against Dagon, and then Toji just come in and just
Just like,
completely stop
hello,
him.
everyone. Okay, I'm also going to say the Mahito fight. So we have 3 people saying it's the Mahito fight. Let's hear the, I don't remember what court terminology is. The people who don't think it was the Dagon fight. Koji, we'll do you first, because you can talk a lot, and I'm sure the fight against the Cursed family is an unpopular choice. It's the best of the arc.
The Curse family is basically one of the good ones, because you can see how
Not
since
one of the good ones.
Gojo,
You think it's the best in the arc?
the best is basically Mahito, but one of
Well,
the
fuck
good
me.
Basically, my favorite one is Hasaka, whatever, the guy with invert technique. The best is basically Mahito. Just my favorite one.
Okay.
Hasaka. Best is
Alright, so
Mahito.
we have one... Do I sound like I'm underwater on your end, Koji? I don't know how you could misunderstand what I was saying.
I don't know either. What the fuck are you talking about, Koji?
This happens every time we talk to Koji. He says some random
Koji, what are
shit
you
that I don't
talking
understand.
I realized that.
So
It's Mahito. Best one is Mahito. End of the story.
the shit. This is why I haven't studied law, is because I can't remember anything. Neo, why is the Dagon fight the best one? I understand why you're going to say it, but explain it for the audience.
The Dagon fight for me is just I like Dagon's design for one. I think he's designed like spirits. I liked his design. I think another thing is like when he activated his domain expansion, it just looked beautiful. So it was a very different battleground than we were used to in the series. Because a lot of the time it's like abandoned buildings, city, kind of that stuff is where we see a lot of the fights take place in Jujutsu Kaisen. But the Dagon fight was interesting because it took place in a completely different locale of like tropical. And another fact is like there's like so many people got in on this fight. It's like we had Maki, Megumi, Nabito, and Nanami get in on the fight, and obviously just seeing Toji just clown Dagon was just
I quite
impressive.
enjoyed him. I love seeing him plow Dagon. That was fun.
The Dagon
It's like-
fight is probably a close second for me, just because it's it's actually shows how people without domain expansion fight domain expansions.
Oh wait,
Clan
why
leaders
didn't
on
I
top
say
of
the
that.
Chozo fight was the best one? Did we all forget about the Chozo fight?
No,
Uh,
I didn't. I
So
thought
right
it was
about
yours.
how it shows his weakness and everything.
Oh, whatever.
thought it was
If I subconsciously forgot about it, it's probably because the Mahito fight is better. Forget that fight ranking video I made. That was me being objective. You know, objectively ranking a piece of media,
Yeah.
which is a thing that allegedly you're able to do according to people who claim to be intelligent. Okay, so that's why you like the Dagon fight, Neo?
yeah, pretty much. And I like water abilities and water ability character, so I liked that a lot. So yeah, that's why I like
All
the
right,
Dagon fight a lot.
before the 4 of us gush about why we love the Mahito fight so much, I'm going to talk about the Dagon fight and the Chozo fight, because, I mean, how can we not talk about those? Or how can I not talk about those? I am the personality of this channel, and my whole deal is not shutting the fuck up about things. So, Dagon fight, I feel like, well, there were a couple of reasons I liked it so much. One was that the environment kept changing. That was interesting. I like when a fight is dynamic. So going from basically in the underground section of the subway. I'm such an idiot. The subway is underground anyway. You know what? They're in a subway. They're fighting, and then there's fucking water everywhere, and then they're on a beach for a reason. But then they just teleport onto a beach. That's pretty insane. I like
Well,
that shit, and I also like that this fight basically shows what happens when a bunch of normal high-level sorcerers have to fight one of these uh, disaster spirits. Because we know that like special grades are a thing they have to deal with, but we haven't really seen we saw Megami defeat a curse womb. So you're like, okay, if someone is a very gifted grade 1 sorcerer, they can take out a special grade on their own. What happens when you have a bunch of people who are very talented, they're all grade 1 level or higher, depending on what you interpret supreme grade 1 to mean. We can discuss that for a bit later.
awesome.
What happens when all of these people, who are supposed to be the actual pillars of Jujutsu Society, what happens when they have to fight a super high level curse? A very
Yes.
wide variety of things happen. You have what happens when you have a technique that's a good matchup against the curse spirit. What happens when you don't have one? What happens when the gang gets stuck in a domain expansion? Not great stuff. We get to see what happens when you do have a way to counter it, when you don't, how the domain caster responds to people having a way to counter it, what happens when a person with their own domain shows up, and then, Toji happens. So, I mean, just Toji being there is kind of enough reason for it to be really good. Chozo fight. I think the reason I put the Chozo fight number 1 is because I think it has perfect flow. Everything that happens in the fight leads into the next thing that happens. Basically, everything Yuji and Chozo do is a reaction to what the other person does. There's a constant escalation of tension with either of them taking damage. Chozo hardening the blood within his own body at the risk of thrombosis, but deciding that Itadori is a more immediate threat is such a good way to indirectly hype up a character. It's like, oh, I feel like the person I'm fighting is a more immediate threat to my life than developing fucking thrombosis from the hardening the blood in my body. I think, like, from a quote-unquote objective standpoint, it's probably the best fight in the series. But now that that's out of the way, let's just all ramble about the Mahito fight. I'll let you guys take the floor a little bit. You can do whatever the hell you
I
want.
go first, Miss.
Yeah, why not? You go first.
Ah, shit. This is what happens when you run the show. Okay. I don't have my Word document from when I made that video. God damn it. So kind of the reasons that I like the other ones, constant escalation of stakes with Mahito getting more powerful, but also as more characters get introduced, you're like, oh shit, Mahito could kill these characters I really like. That's bad. And he gets stronger. Him getting Black Flash, I was like, oh no, bitch. And then he does a fucking transformation out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh shit. But like louder and longer. You have that. We get to see what happens when a bunch of different curse techniques are used against Mahito because we've really only seen Yuji and Nanami's techniques, and they're basically both just hitting him really hard. So it's interesting seeing like Straw Doll technique used against him, what he does against Boogie Woogie. That's all fun. We of course get some great character moments from Nobara and from Toto, of course. That's always great. And of course, the ending of the fight is that's what seals the deal for me personally. I mean, I think the ending of that fight is just absolutely perfect.
The ending of that fight is like, that's what I caught up to Jujutsu Kaisen.
It's the best
So,
chapter in the series.
yeah, just that. I just read that, and I'm like, well, guess I'm reading this series
It's
now.
the best chapter. I won't accept any. No, I will. I'll accept some disagreement because there are other really good chapters. I mean, we got several really amazing chapters in this fight. I guess that's a bonus from it being so long. But like 120, 126, those are really fucking good chapters. I would
Yeah, I
definitely
like
have
that.
those two in like my top 10 Jujutsu chapters.
Yeah, I have to put it up there too, because I mean, just the fact, because I even said one of my favorite moments was actually like the Mahito 0.2 seconds domain expansion, and like just right there in that little scene, it just shows you like what Gojo was saying, like yo, like there's some people and cursed spirits and stuff that are going to start getting stronger and stronger. It just showed you how like the I say what the setup for them all doing what they did when they all did the Black Flash, and Gigi just wrote it out like all three of them now are showing like 100 and like 20%, I think he
They've all
said.
brought out
And
120% of
yeah,
their potential, which
yeah,
I
and
don't think is how potential works, but whatever.
right. So and then after that, you have like Mahito doing this crazy stuff. He tricked Toto, he knocks him through buildings and stuff like that. And Toto comes back and just all this crazy stuff going on. And then you even see Mahito awaken the zero point 0.2 seconds due to the Black Flash. And when he gets Toto in a vulnerable state, Toto just break the laws of his technique and just slaps Mahito's hand. I'm like, yo, that was a honorable loss. And it's like, that was very monumental because like I have never seen that in no other anime or manga. That's the first time I've seen something like that. And I'm like, that's crazy. And then it shows you even more how Yuji stopped thinking of his body parts as desperate, things so he could unlock like divergent fish and like how it's truly used. And that's why I'm like, man, that really was like, a very good fight.
I
So yeah.
forgot. I fucking forgot. The escalate. Mahito gets way stronger during the fight. We had the
Oh
reveal of the
yes. Oh
double.
yes.
The body double reveal, I was already like, you're fucking kidding me. That's broke. Like, having
It is,
Mahito in
bro.
more than one place at a time is just ridiculous. I mean, I get. Well, now he can't develop anymore. I feel like the explanation of how curse manipulation works does mean this is the end of Mahito as like a character, right? Do we agree on this? I feel like
Yeah.
he's
I mean,
done.
yeah, it'd be
He's
dark if he
dead at
comes
this
out
point.
without no technique. That'd be very dark if you ask me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think he's done, basically. He's gone. This is the equivalent to killing him off,
Yeah.
basically.
Can I say my
Basically,
part?
Now, hold on, Koji. I was about to say something.
Okay.
Mahito gets like monumentally stronger. So we got the reveal of the double that he can split himself into two different bodies. Um, they reveal that curses can use Black Flash, which is like holy shit. That adds like a completely new dynamic to fights, where it's not just like oh yeah, any sorcerer like at any moment the good guys could get Black Flash. It's like no, at any moment any combatant in the fight could like accidentally roll a natural 20, get a Black Flash. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Then
Actually,
you
I believe
got the new
um
versions of Soul Multiplicity, the Polymorphic Soul Isomer, where he's basically developing like specialized transmuted humans, like shock troopers. And
oh yeah.
then Instant Spirit Body just started killing. If you guys watched my reviews from chapter 130, I was like
Oh, I see.
losing my mind. I'm like, oh no, he's getting too high level now. They've got to get rid of him now. He's gonna reach fucking
Yeah, I see.
singularity at this rate. Like you got to get rid of him now. He's getting too strong. If he has just been born now and everything that's been happening is pre-birth. No, no, no. He's getting too broken. You got to get rid of him.
when he
So,
performed
All right.
Black Flash, it just
Mhm.
like blew my mind because like at that point in the series, I didn't think curses had access to like Black Flash. I thought it was a sorcerer exclusive thing, and then Mahi does it. It's like, well, they can do it now, and that's scary for the future.
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
guess the
like
reason we thought only ever sorcerers could use it was because, well, we've only known about sorcerers using it, but probably also that, like, we haven't really had like intelligent curses, especially intelligent like Mahito, have not existed for a
mhm.
very long time. So there wouldn't have even been curses that like know how to use cursed energy like Mahito does to even like figure out how to use um Black Flash. And something I just thought of like right now is I think the only reason Mahito ever used Black Flash was because he was fighting Yuji and couldn't use Idle Transfiguration on him. Because he had to fight him just from using cursed energy on his own body. which is how Black Flash happens. Which means if he was fighting literally anyone else, he would have never figured out how to use it.
Yeah,
And
something
that's
I
what
would add on.
I just
TEOO
thought of
does.
that.
Yeah,
That's
something
what
I'll add on is like Black Flash works like it's like you said earlier in the video. I mean, you said it's like Curse Energy is like some universal chain type power, like with the bonding valves and stuff like that. And it's like, because remember what Gigi said, it's like the Black Flash, it doesn't choose, who to bless, and it just goes here and goes there, So, Curse Energy in general, I feel like it's just more to be explained. So not just that, not trying to get off topic, but I actually have to leave. But I do want to ask all of y'all this question, and this is another reason why I think, the Jujutsu Kaisen universe is bigger than what we think it is, because we already have the prison run, which is something made out of somebody technique and stuff like that, right? And then we even hear many of times about the wastelands. It's like, do you guys think we will ever see the wastelands? Do you guys think it's another like dimension or something like that? And does Sakuna have access to it?
You
He was
mean
able to
like
go inside of.
when Jogo's like standing in the
Mm-hmm.
wasteland in 100 years?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that's
Because
just
like,
him referring to them like wrecking the world.
yeah.
right.
I think he just means like standing in the post-human world when we've destroyed everything and we're standing in the wasteland.
Yeah, it could be.
Can I talk?
Yeah, sure. You do your thing,
Oh,
Koji.
finally. Finally, I can talk.
But
Why?
thank you. I'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Oh, you're
For having
heading
me.
out?
Oh yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
go. But
All
thank
right.
you,
Thank
man.
you for joining, Teo.
Ah,
I will, of course,
Yeah.
guys,
Bye.
check out Teo's channel. I will have it linked in the description. He does Jujutsu
Please, please.
Kaisen reviews, and I think you do some other Jujutsu videos
Uh,
occasionally.
yeah, I also do My Heroes every now and then. My Hero, and I'm about to get back into One Piece. I mean, I'm in One Piece. I read the manga and stuff like that, but I just haven't
Should.
been, with the reviews and stuff like that. But I will soon though. But mostly Jujutsu guys.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us.
Oh yeah.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being on. You've added a lot of very
Bye.
interesting stuff to the conversation. And I will be happy to have you on again if you can join us
Oh yes.
whenever I do another Jujutsu discussion.
Oh yes. Please, please, please.
Well then,
All
bye.
right then.
here,
Bye bye.
you.
All
See
right.
ya.
See you, bro.
Here.
Good day.
Yeah, you too.
Oh, he laughed. So sorry. Well, as I was saying, was it? Yeah. All right, Mahito fight. I almost forgot. Wait, why did I almost forget? Whatever. So it's Koji stuff. Mahito fight. But the best part of it is obviously at the end of the day he gets his ass kicked after all. But mainly we see him like getting stronger. I think right
Yeah.
because we know
Hold on.
that in the
I'm gonna
end.
screw around in OBS. Since Teo has left, I'm going to remove his icon if I can figure out how, and then I'm gonna move Koji so that everything is nice and symmetrical and doesn't freak out my OCD.
Well,
Mahito.
can I talk now?
A little
Yeah,
bit.
sure.
Should I
Do
wait?
your thing.
Okay. Mahito fight is my favorite one because obviously we think that Mahito is gonna kill everyone because as we know, he killed Nanami. So Burara, I think that she killed her or severely wounded her. I think one of those two, but it's between one of those two. And then he made so much chaos, even cut it out Todo's hand that is to activate the boogie woogie by
Mhm.
himself. Now he has to activate it in the middle of the battlefield or with support. And then we get to see him stronger, as you said, specializing, like for example, versus idle transfigurations, everything. He gets stronger and it's like, please fucking kill him. It's getting a pain in the ass right now. And until he gets beaten finally. But after that, we see that Gero's Geto's gonna support him, and then when Mahito's gonna betray Geto, actually the brain, not Geto itself, the brain itself, he dodges as it sees Mahito that try to attack him and use idle transfiguration on him. We can see that Mahito got cocky and got karma finally and got eaten. Like
I
I
don't
think that
feel like
that
that
counts
was
as a death.
cockiness. I feel like that was desperation. I don't think Mahito is
Yeah,
in a position to be cocky. And
It's
that
nicely
was
stuck
so
with
funny when the brain shows up and he's like, "Shall I save you, Mahito?" He's like he's so
yeah,
condescending about it. I can, even though it's just
it's
through text, I can
basically
tell from the look on his face that he's being an asshole about it.
it's basically like in that moment, Mahito was basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like behind him he has Yuji, in front of him he has the brain. It's like either way, he's not getting out of this alive.
No. Listen, for the longest time, if you'd been keeping up with my reviews, if you watched my Mahito discussion video, I was like, yeah, I think Mahito's endgame. He's gonna be around for a while, he's gonna escape Shibuya like he always does. And then, at the end of, I think it was chapter 128, where they break out into the surface, and he's like, come on, Itadori, this is our last chance to curse each other. I was like, uh-oh. 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 He's not running away this time, is he? Nice. So then everything else happened. So that was great. It was funny how that one chapter was able to change my... No, not even that one chapter. Like, that one line was able to change my whole outlook on how things were going to go for his character.
Thing with me and like of when I was reading the entire time I was reading Jujutsu Kaisen, I just had a thought in the back of my head like Mahito doesn't feel like the real main villain.
Well, we already had Imposter Ghetto. It felt more like Mahito was his quote-unquote rival, although a lot of the times rivals are not evil.
Yeah,
So
like,
he's whatever the evil equivalent of a rival character is.
I think that he's like the support the evil guy, right? He's there like to support the evil guy after all.
Yeah, he's like
for example,
the secondary antagonist.
like the henchman.
Yeah,
Henchman,
the
like,
secondary or the supporting antagonist. I don't know what the exact term is called, but a lot of the time you have like the main villain who the main character may not have like a very direct connection to, and then you'll have the henchman villain who is like actively personally at odds with the main character. If we can get a comparison... Oh, I remember the comparison from my Mahito discussion video. Someone has said it's like Ichigo and Ulquiorra. Ulquiorra is not the main villain of the Arrancar saga, but he's like the main guy that Ichigo is going after before he goes to fight Aizen.
Yeah, it's like Ichigo at that point didn't really have a direct connection to Aizen, so it's like he was going to defeat Ulquiorra and Grimmjow.
Yeah.
But Aizen just needed to be defeated.
Like, Aizen is the big guy, bad guy doing evil stuff, but I have beef with Ulquiorra and Grimmjow. Well, no, he had... Yeah. Nah, he kind of had beef with both of them, because at first it was Grimmjow, and then Ulquiorra showed up and punched a fucking hole in his chest.
Wait, doesn't that mean that if Mahito also died, Jogo, Dagon, Hanami...
No, actually, I think the only other member of the Disaster Spirits that Yuji met was Hanami. So he never met, or no, he met Jogo, but he never fought. Like, he was just watching Gojo beat the shit out.
Yeah, remember Gojo.
He never even saw Dagon either.
Yeah.
You know what?
But I call them the boys because they're unnamed special grades. So that's why I call them the boys, because they're the 4 unnamed special grades. Doesn't that mean that since the 4 are deceased?
Is it just me, or is it weird that Dagon showed up at the same time as Jogo and Hanami, but did literally nothing until the Shibuya incident? Like, you didn't even really see him.
At the time.
Was he just there so that they could make a trio of curses, and then it's like, yeah, we'll use him later, or whatever?
No, I think that his role was mainly to support the chaos. Like, for example, he's not gonna attack or do nothing.
Or, well, Dagon was a curse wound, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wonder if that means...
Dagon, I don't think he ever spoke the entire time he was fighting.
Dagon?
Dagon...
No, Dagon talked a lot, actually. Yeah. Like, he starts off when he's the cursed wound, and he says the curse's names, and then he says Hanami, and then he starts freaking the fuck out and saying Hanami over and over again, and then he starts, which is actually one of my favorite interactions from the fight, is where him and Naobito are talking past each other.
Yeah.
Where Naobito's talking to him about fucking FPS and video production, and Dagon's talking about, like, the philosophical existence of curses, and they both don't give a shit about what the other person is saying.
That's great.
Man.
It's a total... I just forgot about Dagon speaking, which is kind of a stupid thing to forget.
Dagon was fun. Completely, mildly off topic. Which of the Disaster Spirits is your favorite? I know which one's yours is fine. You can let the people know. I'm sure they can probably wager a guess.
Jogo.
Why do you like
Someone-
Jogo so much?
Well, mainly he's very strong, but in almost every interaction he just jobs.
He is the unluckiest character in the universe. I've noticed.
The
He
only
is
time he
the
gets a good
strongest
win.
disaster spirit for a while, only gets fights against the top of the verse.
Yeah, it's like the only good fight he gets that he doesn't get completely jobbed is like Maki Naobito and
It's cleaning up after
Beats
Dagon.
up, yeah.
Sukuna shows up.
Oh shit,
Yeah,
Neo cut out.
and
Oh,
also,
what? Am I good?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear you again. Damn,
Okay.
internet and Discord not working.
Yeah. But it's like it was basically clean up after Dagon, then Sukuna shows up, and then Jogo
Or
dies.
summoning Sukuna, basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Poor
But
Jogo.
also
I think
just
Jogo basically did some
Jogo
death.
dies, we see also had also a really good moment with Sukuna and Jogo, which made Sukuna also a bit developed him as a character, as not really progression, but development, fleshed his character out.
My
yeah.
favorite analysis of that scene, and really the only analysis of that scene I've seen, is that you have Jogo, who is a cursed spirit who wants to replace humans, is now experiencing human emotions for the first time, talking to Sukuna, who is a human who became a curse and can no longer understand human emotions.
Yeah.
I think it's just a very
That's
interesting.
probably one of my favorite elements of like the entire series is like Jogo's death and Sukuna's
It's
like
really
talking.
good. I had never really thought about that, but Jogo probably has like one of the best deaths in the series.
Yeah,
Good for him, I
because-
guess.
because all of the other ones are more just like, you die, you die.
Well,
We-
Jogo was the only person who got killed by his god, whatever you want to consider the relation between Sukuna and all other curses.
Yeah,
It's basically like Kiryu and Tokita Oma. Just Kiryu has a wet dream of getting killed by Oma. I think that it's the same. He thinks Jogo that Sukuna is his god.
No.
Basically
I
that.
think that's
this.
different. I don't think Jogo wants to fuck Sukuna.
No, like he believes.
No.
Like, he's
It's
his
different.
god.
It's like
Use
an
your
honor
words
thing.
carefully.
Don't,
This is the internet, my friend.
Koji. He does not want to fuck him. It's different.
No, it's not that. It's like how the
He views Sukuna as like an idol of worship. He is literally the epitome of all curses. So being told by him that you are strong, like out of all the people I've fought over the centuries or whatever, you are one of the strong ones. So good job. job. Good job jobbing.
Jobbing a name.
Koji,
Or,
which one do you like? Oh wait, fine. Are you still? Who is saying things now?
We don't know.
Me, I want to say.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna let Koji say things.
Koji, say your thing. Which curse is your favorite?
It's basically I'm between Rika.
I meant out of the
Hanami,
disaster spirits.
The disaster spirits, like the boys, like I like to
Out
call
of the
them.
boys.
So, out of the boys, basically between Hanami and Jogo, but Jogo mainly because he had like an actual character development out of all curses, because he was like the very first curse that we get to see him like hate humans. But after that, little by little, we see him get human emotions like crying, redemption, sadness, happiness. Even when he says, "You're one of the strongest," and he says, "Like, what is this feeling?" Like, we see him like a curse actually getting a character development. That's one of my favorites.
Hanami
Jogo.
had that in the Goodwill
It's very
event.
similar to Ufu.
Hanami did get. I feel like. Was Dagon the only one that didn't get character development? I mean, he didn't really get enough time to have character development. Like, we got insight into his character, but I don't think he got development.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like we got a character, but not development in anime. I forget it's the no. Dagon is not the same. He had some development. Save it as Mahito with strength, Dagon with understanding, and Jogo with emotions. But Hanami was just the basic one that like the basic curse that didn't had development. of the
He
boys.
learned that killing is fun.
Yeah, he
That was
realized
basically.
that fighting people is enjoyable.
Yeah,
Before that, it was more
can see
just
that.
like a peaceful curse, and then he began to like fighting.
It's like, Hanami, we're curses. We fucking kill people. Like, that's our whole deal. So you might as well enjoy it a little. It's so
Became
interesting
more
how
cursed.
Mahito's nihilism leads to people becoming worse people. Because he's not wrong, but he's not right. Um, I guess Mahito has a perspective that only he could have about things.
It's like I
Jogo
think that
became
I
a
understand a little bit Mahito. It's like you gotta enjoy your life to the fullest. So why not ruin someone to make yourself proud of getting better than someone, tougher than someone? I think that I understand his ideology. Like say Mahito, like a normal person says, I wanna get to the top at the hardest way possible. Mahito is like, I wanna get to the top and I'll just ruin everyone's life to be the only one on the top. It's basically Mahito.
All
well.
right, Neo
Like
Rose, which one? Oh, wait, fine, you're saying a thing.
it feels like Hanami became more a curse, and Jogo became more human. Because Hanami actually had fun killing, and Jogo, got human emotions and that like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I
Neo, which one is your favorite?
if
Which one do you think's the
I remember
coolest?
this, I
Whatever.
would definitely definitely say Jogo character wise, but if I had to go by like how much I just like them, like appearance and ability wise, Dagon, I love water. Seeing
Dagon?
that was
You like Dagon the most, like purely appearance and power based?
yeah, it's I have a huge water based.
Oh, Dagon, it's like it looks like a Cthulhu from HP, like
Yeah,
Lovecraftian
also that
mythos,
his
right?
design just
Koji,
fucking
I'm gonna give you a little piece of advice. When you say Cthulhu, you don't have to specify from HP Lovecraft. Everyone knows what you're
people
talking about. If
people
they haven't
know.
heard of Cthulhu, I guarantee you they haven't heard of HP Lovecraft. So it would just be you saying a thing they've never heard of from a person they've never heard of.
Yeah,
Ulu.
Wait,
just his
what?
design and like his abilities, so,
That
personality wise, yeah.
sword is a fucking scary ability. I like
It's
how they show how Shikigami play into a domain's unavoidable attack. It's interesting. It's basically just the Shikigami are summoned on you. They do not exist until they hit you, even though we
Yeah,
see them before. But whatever. But yeah, Dagon's
it's
pretty
definitely
awesome.
it's probably telling to what Megumi's domain expansion will be when he fully forms it with his Shikigami.
Yeah. Was it complete when he used it against Dagon? I mean, like, he didn't overwhelm Dagon's domain, but was it a
Yeah, he
complete
just used it
domain?
to like he
Can it
just
be a
used it to
complete
like
domain when it's in someone else's? If you're not overpowering it?
maybe
complete before, so I'm just gonna assume it wasn't complete there.
Well, I don't know, because Megami definitely doesn't have, like, more cursed energy than Dagon. I think that's probably safe to assume. Um, but I don't think, like, he didn't make a mention of it being incomplete. So I'm wondering. I feel like the next time we see it, it will be, like, explicitly a completed domain expansion. Oh god, someone's breaking up again. Neo, who the fuck just tried talking? Neo, fine, who was it?
Yeah.
I was on mute.
I think.
Oh. I can't tell from the positioning of where the OBS window is who's muted and who's not. Okay, Koji's muted. Neo, you said so Dagon's the coolest. Alright, this is the third time I'm repeating it for some reason.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
So, this is actually a really hard decision for me to make because there's a lot of reason to like all the other ones. I don't think. Well, I would say purely in terms of a character, Mahito is my favorite. I think I've ranked him in my top 5 because I fucking hate him so much. and it's sign of good writing when an author can make me genuinely despise a fictional character. And he also
It's the
has an
best kind
interesting
of
philosophy, so like I can't deny that. But in terms of the coolest, it's like a really, really tough choice between Hanami and Dagon. I think Hanami has the best design, and like plant abilities are cool.
Yeah,
Um,
we don't see.
but Dagon, he's Cthulhu. His domain expansion is a tropical island. Death
Oh, that's
Swarm is fucking awesome. Death Swarm is really cool. Koji, we will go on for like we can go on for like another 15 minutes. I think we can be wrapping up soon. Um,
Yeah.
you know what? It's probably Dagon. I think Dagon's the coolest one. It's probably also because he got a. No, I think I like the Hanami fight more, maybe. But yeah, Dagon probably the coolest out of them. So I agree with you on that.
What I want to say
Is what?
is the Mahito fight. Why I like that fight is not only because of Mahito's ability, is because it's very transformative, heh, um, but also because of the parts in between the fighting. You know, the Nobara flashback and the Miwa cutoff. I like those parts too very much.
Yeah, those are all pretty good moments. All right. So I guess this is where I'm going to try and wrap this up. We've actually been going for 2 hours, which is interesting because this does not feel like it's been going on for that long. Definitely doesn't feel as long as the Attack on Titan podcast, but maybe that's because we didn't start as late as we did with that one. So to finish this off, let's talk a little about the implications of the Shibuya incident. I think we've gone over that a little bit. But I think what we're getting very obviously is two things simultaneously. The first one I had already predicted happening, and the other one, some people are like, well, maybe we'll do those separately. First one is the hunt for Yuji. We're getting like Captain America Civil War shit here. We're gonna have like half of the characters going along with Yuji trying to protect him, and the other half of the characters chasing after him trying to kill him. I had been saying for a while that Akotsu would probably be the person that's hunting him down because we need a powerful antagonist. Because Yuji's already beaten Mahito, so we've beaten the strongest person that Yuji can beat right now. So we need a new big strong antagonist, not villain, but antagonist for this upcoming arc. So Akotsu would have been the best choice.
Like anti-hero type.
Yeah,
Akutsu
basically.
might be like
Although
an
anti-heroes normally aren't agents
anti-hero.
of the state, but whatever. So that was something, and I was very, very smug about being correct about that. I'm very pleased with myself. Um, and the other thing is that the fucking cursed apocalypse is happening. The Heian period itself hasn't returned, but the golden age of curses and curse techniques is back. We're going to be getting a deluge of new characters, new curses, new curse techniques. I'm very excited to see where that goes. We basically have opened up an opportunity for hundreds of new chapters worth of content. So the first act of Jujutsu Kaisen is over. We are now entering the second act of the story, and I cannot overstate how excited I am for it.
I'm excited for Sumiki
Excited as well.
involved in the story.
That's gonna be something. I mean, she's obviously gonna fight Megumi, right? Like we know that's gonna
This is
happen.
the point where Jujutsu Kaisen gets serious, basically.
Yes, where we've entered the part of the shonen where it stops being funny and it starts being serious. Because you know they all have that.
Let's
Yeah,
see, for example, I guess
multiple times.
the shonen take to seinen little by little because we see something like that. Since they prolonged a lot, they turn little by seinen. Let's see, Attack of Titan is an example. Well, it's basically that we're gonna have the chase basically, where they try to hunt Eren down, the king and everything like that. It's basically what's gonna happen in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's gonna be three factions: the true enemy that are the curses, Jujutsu High, that is the one sentencing everything, and Team Juji, Team Itadori, or whatever you want to call it. It's basically that. And let's not forget, Satoru Gojo, it's a criminal act to unseal him.
Yeah, we'll see what Gojo has to say
The
about that when he gets out.
yeah, the principal it has
Like I
a
said,
death
the
penalty.
second Gojo gets out, if he doesn't murder the higher ups, I'll be surprised.
You could only have the fucking gall to say that Gojo is an accomplice in the Shibuya incident and is permanently exiled from Jujutsu Society if he
Yeah.
was sealed in the fucking prison realm.
If he was not sealed, they would not have said that under any other circumstance. And I really do think the next part of Jujutsu Kaisen is definitely going to focus on like the fall of like modern Jujutsu sorcerer like society. It's going to enter a new instance.
The age
It's gonna
of
be a civil war.
humans and sorcerers that we've known for the whole series so far is over now. Like it's not the world does not work the same way that it did for the last 137 chapters. So that is pretty crazy. Yeah, it seems like we're entering the part of every shonen where it gets really fucking dark for a while,
Yeah,
or it starts getting really fucking dark. I mean, My Hero basically like post All Might retirement, like I guess after the hero license thing, everything just got really fucking dark.
Definitely
The
the
overhaul arc
Chisaki
in Pro
is
Hero,
the
like it
start
gets
of that.
really fucked up. Then you have I don't know, Black Clover is getting kind of bleak right now. Though
Yeah.
during like the reincarnation arc, there was like a point where it's like this is like all really serious shit. I guess you know what the most oppressively dark shonen arc I've read is the Thousand Year Blood War. Like the Vandenreich shows up and just you're just like, oh, they're just fucking unstoppable. Like it's over. That arc, man, Thousand Year Blood War was really dark at points. And I think we're gonna get into some stuff like this here. Like if anything we saw from chapter 137 was to indicate what the mood going forward is going to be, it was going to be pretty bleak.
Miss, can I say something about the principal? Because we know that he's gonna get a death penalty. The
Yeah,
question is,
I
which
assume you're going to
side
say we'll
will
see
he
a lot
get?
more from him.
Yeah, because basically he has a death penalty.
Correct. They did
So
say that he has the death penalty.
yeah, so meaning that he might have like something that if he hunts down Juji with Okotsu, he can clean up his sins on the Shibuya incident arc, right? So basically, that may
I
happen.
don't know.
The principal, or maybe him leaving the Jujutsu Association or something like that, like retiring forever, so he doesn't get the death penalty. He may get something familiar to that, but mainly we have to see to that Okotsu will be hunting down mainly everyone. Like when I say everyone, it's on Team Juji. If he has to kill Inumaki by the looks of it, he'll do it. That's how Okotsu looks right now. He's gonna kill Inumaki if he has to in order to kill Juji.
No. I don't think he would do that. The reason he wants to kill Yuji is because he hurt Inumaki. If he hurt Inumaki to get to Yuji, that would be completely undermining the whole point. I wonder what happened with Maki. I'm sure you're wondering what happened with Maki.
Yeah.
What has happened?
It's very
What will
strange
happen
that-
with my OTP? What will happen with the one ship
Everyone-
I give a shit about? What will happen?
I mean, the one ship that still could be there.
The one that could still happen now that Mekamaru's dead and I'm sad. Every time I see fan art, I get depressed. But that's still a possibility. Though Rika still being around could complicate that. I don't know.
Yeah, Rika.
Even Griever
Rika is
was like,
kind of a
Rika
low-key
may have
yandere.
some things to say about that one.
A low-key yandere.
There's
just-
maybe Rika's calmed down now a little. I hope. I hope being freed from your curse has helped you get over how batshit insane you are.
Rika, take about a pound of chill pills and then get back to us.
Don't overdose. Don't eat the whole bottle.
To pass on.
Oh no, Rika died again. She overdosed on chill pills.
Now,
Did Rika die?
Too many chill.
Why do I
Too many
ask
chill
myself?
pills. You overdosed.
Anyway,
Oh, I hope Okotsu doesn't get hit with the friendship beam.
Oh no.
That'll be
I said-
terrible if that happens.
first,
Another
that
victim
chapter-
claimed by Yuji's friendship making power. Another victim
Oh.
claimed by the power of friendship.
Wait, isn't
Friendship is
Rika the one that using the
Tommy just
puppets?
took the concept of the power of friendship and made it into an actual bullshit ability
Oh,
that is
right.
in.
No, you know what? We're patenting it here. I'm calling it now. From this point forward, I'm calling it the power of friendship.
Nice.
100%. I'm with that.
Fan fucking tastic.
It's literally weaponized friendship.
It's a weaponized friendship power.
Like fairy tale.
Oh yeah, this will be fun. I think. Okay, so we're pretty much done here. I think the next time I do a jujutsu thing, it may be concurrent to whenever Griever streams, when he finishes. I don't know if we'll do like a thing here, or if maybe we'll do like a concurrent live stream or something. But I think not the next episode of this podcast. I think the next one I'm going to do is going to be Kengan related. But I think the next time we do one of these jujutsu streams, or not streams, podcasts, maybe it'll be a stream by then. I'll probably get Griever on here so we can have an interesting discussion. We can ask him some questions. We can try and convince him to like Nobara, maybe.
He doesn't like Nobara.
He doesn't like Nobara for
He
some
hates.
reason.
He
He
doesn't
does
really
not like
hate,
her personality.
likes
We
him.
will.
Yeah.
I think he said a few weeks ago that he'll do a thing on stream where he'll allow people to come into the Discord. They get 5 minutes to explain why he should like Nobara, and he gets like a minute to counter argument.
Oh.
Will be very strict rules. Internet blood sports trying to convince Griever
Wait,
to like a character that he doesn't like.
I
Whatever. I think it's just a
remember-
taste in character.
bloodbath.
Griever doesn't even like Shiva from Record of Ragnarok, and I like
It's gonna be a
Shiva. I think he's
bloodbath.
cool. But
Murder.
whatever. It's like a taste in character thing. He does not like bitchy women. I don't mind
Doesn't
bitchy
like
women
Noelle.
as long as they're not being bitchy to me. I don't give a shit. As long as it's entertaining,
My favorite.
I don't care.
She's a close second.
Yeah, I like Nobara because she plays off well of the other two and other characters.
Whatever. I think he takes her too seriously. I think the matter is you don't take her super serious. You take her like it's like her deal. It's whatever. It's not serious. But yeah. Next week, presuming we get a chapter, I may not have a reaction out, depending on what I'm doing. Since it's Valentine's Day, I of course, you know me, the player. I will be doing shit on Valentine's Day probably. So I may not get a reaction out depending on what time I'm busy. So it may just be a review for next week's chapter. We'll see. It depends on what I'm doing. But with that, we are done with this podcast. Thank you for everyone who's joined. I will be including TEOO and Koji's channels in the description for you guys to check them out. If you enjoyed what they had to say, Koji's is like a shitposting channel, but if you're interested in shitposting, check that out. And if you want to watch another Jujutsu YouTuber, TEOO is one of those. So, if you enjoyed this video and you're somehow not subscribed to me while watching this, do that, I guess. Like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I do Jujutsu Kaisen chapter reactions and reviews every week. If you enjoy other series such as Record of Ragnarok, Black Clover, and Kengan Omega, I do videos in those series as well. So if you're interested in those, you should definitely check out my channel. If you enjoy discussing Jujutsu Kaisen with other people, or you just enjoy the content I produce on this channel, I highly suggest you check out my Discord server. Check out my Discord server. I have a link to it on my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.